Okay, we have started. All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning, this wonderful Saturday. I see most of you are early birds. Thank you so much for joining us. We are happy to have you this morning. Karibuni sana. Thank you for joining us. We'll just start shortly, but you can feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know where you're joining from, and it's a great pleasure to have you this morning. Wow, such a great morning. Karibuni sana. Karibuni. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. It's a great Saturday. It's wonderful to have you. Welcome to today's session. I'll be your host. My name is Cherono Achieng, joining you from here, Nairobi. It's a great pleasure to have you this morning. Even as we introduce ourselves on the chat, I want to pose a question to you. Even as you're telling us where you're joining us from and your name, please tell us a fun fact that you think nobody else knows about you. And we'll be reading it from the chat. Let's see what you have. Good morning from Nairobi, joining from Langata. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined the session and you're chatting with us on the chat. It's a good morning to have you. We'll begin shortly. So we just want to hear from you. What's that one fun fact that you think nobody else knows about you? It's only you who knows. So even as you introduce yourself, you can take turn to answer that question and we'll be able to read out your answer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Once again, my name is Chirono Achieng. I'll be your host for the day. We have our facilitators and the rest of the speakers. You'll be able to meet them as we continue with the session. Karibuni sana, karibuni sana. It's good to have you this morning. Thank you for engaging with us. So even as you continue to introduce yourself, you can tell us one fun fact about you that you think nobody else knows. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll now begin our session for today. Once again, my name is Chirono Achieng, and I'll be your host for the day. I want to take this opportunity to welcome Joel to do the introduction for us. Joel?
Well, thank you so much, Chirono. Indeed, it is a great pleasure to be here this morning. Just to be able to go over this session, was really looking forward to this. And I'm delighted that we are all here. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Good morning from wherever you are. I know there are people who are tuned in from various places in the country. I can see Turukana is represented, Kitale, Nairobi, Kericho. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm glad that we are going to be part of this important discussion, which is the soft skills, which is very crucial for our success in today's job market. And Just before we dive in, let me take a moment to introduce who Brighter Monday Kenya is. So Brighter Monday is one of the biggest Kenya's leading recruitment platform, and we're indeed dedicated to just connecting job seekers with the right career opportunities. And as well, we're here to help employers find the top talent, and you are the top talent. That's why it's crucial for us having you aboard. So we're part of the talent African talent company TATC. We operate in various markets across Africa. We are in East Africa as well. We're in West Africa. And in today's job market, technical skills alone are not enough for you. So employers are looking for professionals with strong communication, with strong teamwork, adaptability, things like leadership skills. So these qualities can really set you apart. That's why here at Brighter Monday, since we understand the job market fully, we have a portfolio that is relevant and it can add value to you. So with over 1 million applicants, we've been seeing the trends. We know what employers are looking for, and it's very key for you to have such kind of skills, and you need to heighten them with such trainings. So I encourage you today to actively participate in today's session, ask questions, take notes, ensure you have a pen and a paper, right? Because soft skills are a game changer in your career growth. And we're here to help you just sharpen them. Let's make it interactive and impactful. Looking forward to a great session, and you're off to a great start. Over to you, Cherono. Thank you for that part of the session.
Thank you so much, Joel. Thank you so much. Now that you've heard about Brighter Monday, I would like to welcome Pamela to take us through what the project is about.
Thank you, Cherono. Good morning, everybody. I hope I'm visible. My name is Pamela Kabahesi, as Cherono has said. I am the country programs lead for Brighter Monday in Uganda, and I am coming to you from Kampala. I'm in Kampala, in the Pearl of Africa, just in case we've forgotten. One fun fact about me is that I can hardly watch TV. Every time I try to watch TV, I end up falling asleep. So I think I've given up on watching TV for now. So I would like to quickly take you through the Young Africa Works program. This is a program that was established together with our partners from the MasterCard Foundation. The aim of the program really is to bridge the gap between job seekers and employers, because like Joel has said, Brighter Monday is one of Kenya's leading recruitment and HR services platform. So we realized that there was a gap between employers and job seekers. So on the one end, we had employers, and on the other end, we had job seekers, but there was a mismatch. Job seekers were not finding jobs, and employers were not finding the right quality of job seekers. So based on that, it was deemed necessary to come up with a way to bridge that gap, which birthed this program, Young Africa Works, that is going to impart soft skills that you will not find anywhere in any training school, any secondary school, any university. These are skills that you will not find outrightly in these places. So Brighter Monday, the Africa Talent Company, realized that these soft skills were relevant. Just to let you know that this program is being implemented in Nigeria, in Kenya, and in Uganda. And we believe that this is going to put the recipients of this training ahead of the curve when it comes to connecting with employers.
Hello, Pamela. Hi.
I think you should just go on.
Okay, Pamela has, we have lost Pamela's network. Okay, great. As just Pamela was giving us the introduction of the project, what is it about? It's a MasterCard funded project here in Kenya aiming to train young people on soft skills training to make them employable readiness so that they can be able to be ready for the job market. So this skills is to enhance the skills that you have already gained in school, the technical skill. So the soft skills is an add-on, and we hope that this session is going to be impactful for you even as we continue. Okay, so I'm going to take you through the learner journey, what the learner journey looks like for you. First thing is you received an email or you saw an advert and you registered for the session. You received a Zoom link via email and you are requested to take a baseline assessment. Now you might ask, why do you need to take a baseline assessment? The importance of the baseline assessment is to help you test your knowledge on soft skills before you start the session, so that when you do the session, you now do an end line, which now you've already gone through the soft skills training. Now you have more knowledge of soft skills. Then you take the end line assessment for you to receive a certificate. So where you are right now is the training session that we are doing, the Zoom training that we are doing right now. It might take about 2.5 hours of a very engaging session where our facilitators are going to take us through the various soft skills. So be ready, like Joel has said, with your pen and paper to take notes. However, just note, we'll send you the slides and the audio so that you can refer to it even at your own time. Then you do the online assessment right after the session, where you can be able to receive your certificate that certifies you have actually taken the soft skills training that has been offered today. So this is how the certificate will look like. Once you have already finished the online assessment, you will receive a certificate that looks like the one I'm presenting right now. So some of the post-training engagement that we'd like to share with you is that the slides and the sessions recording will be shared with you after the training. The online assessment will be made available to you after the training. So once we end the Zoom training, that's when you'll receive the online link. Please remember that during the week, we'll reach out to you with reminder emails for you to do the baseline and endline assessment. Our hope is that everyone who has joined today's session has been able to do their baseline assessment so that you can do your endline and receive your certificate. A few months after the training, our team from BrighterMonday Kenya will be reaching out to you just to know how your progress has been post-training. How is your career journey going on now that you have gone through the soft skills training? So these are some of the post-training engagement that we'll be having with you post the training. I see their reactions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, just a question, even as I welcome Joel back to take us through this, how many people don't have a BrighterMonday account? How many people do not have a BrighterMonday account? Even as you do that, Joel, welcome. I hope you're seeing those hands in the chat, those reactions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cherono. I see a couple of people still don't have a BrighterMonday account yet. It's very interesting that we are here to offer you value, and we are happy that you are here today. And indeed, one of the requirements for you to just be able to start on your career journey is, even if I know we're all familiar with some of these LLMs, ChatGPTs, DeepSeek AI, and the likes. If you try Google how to find a job in Kenya today, definitely one of the most popular job boards that will pop out is BrighterMonday. So I encourage you to take that first initiative of creating a BrighterMonday account to just get yourself set for your success, or just set the journey, because you know the first thing of going on to a journey is getting aboard a bus, a train, a lorry, starting to ride your bicycle, taking the first step. So the first step to this journey, go to brightermonday.co.ke and sign up. So when you get to that landing page, you'll see on the top right part of the page, even if you're using your phone, you're going to see login and sign up. So for those ones who already have accounts, just go to login. And if you don't have an account yet, go to sign up. So when you click on sign up, it will ask you to fill a form. So this first step before you just fill a form, I know there's a confusion. You can see on the slides, there's that step 2, where certain people, we've experienced this. It's not a fun fact. If, for example, I want to work for, say, a bank, or like ABSA, one of our partners in some of our projects, I want to say work with ABSA. Someone will go and say, I want to create an employer account and say ABSA account and then give it my name. It will give me chances of being seen by the employer. No, just ensure you go to job seeker part. That's on the left side of your screen. When you click on sign up, just click on create an account, sign in as a job seeker. So when you do that, it's going to take you to the next step. So on the next step, you'll see a form similar to what is displayed on the screen. You'll put in your name, first name, your last name, your email address, something that will be talked about later on the safe skills. Ensure you have something professional, like if I'm Joel Juma @gmail.com. It can have some numbers for differentiation. Avoid having some funny emails that we understand at some point we had some emails that we can't even mention how they sound on such a session. So once you do that, you'll put your date of birth. It's very crucial, so that to just get you matched. It's part of your bio data. We are going to look at this on a different perspective. I know for soft skills training purposes, some of this data might not be included in your CV. So this is just part of profiling you as a candidate and being able to match you. So after you complete all that, click on the next step. On the next step, it will be more about your background, your education background. You'll have something to do about your highest qualification. After that, you're going to just proceed and upload your CV. CVs are going to be talked about, right? This session is quite packed for you. So choose a file where you've saved it and then accept all the terms and conditions that are there. After that, you're going to create your account and you'll be set. Once you are set, it will take you to a path where it will tell you, welcome. Now you'll need to update your career profile. So updating your career profile will be more about just building about who you are, your past experience, a deep dive to your education background and stuff like that. Something about yourself, your career summary. So that's how your profile will look like. And then when you're updating your profile, it usually shows your completion rate. So ensure you push it to at least 100% to be able to unlock something we call a boost that can help you stay on top. For example, when you send an application, the 100 application, if yours is boosted, it means you are going to be seen first. And then at the same time, having a complete profile is very vital because it helps you match as the most relevant candidate. Because nowadays people use something called the applicant tracking system. And at BrighterMonday, one interesting thing is if your profile is complete, it ranks you as the most relevant candidate. So that gives you an upper hand when you're applying for the job. You're bound to be seen when you have a complete profile. So ensure after you've completed signing up, go to your career profile, complete all the fields. And when you click on something that it's not yet complete, you'll see a mark there in front. If it's ticked, it means it's complete. If it's not, just click on that. It will continue updating the percentages. So that is it for you. Ensure you sign up. And in case of any question, feel free to just drop it on the chat. As we go, we'll be here to respond. You can as well reach out to through our various contact methods, and we are looking forward to interact with you. So I wish you a very insightful session. I'll give it back to Cherono. Looking forward to learning together as we go on. Thank you so much. Have a great session, everyone. It's gonna be great, I promise.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you so much for that session. Thank you. And Joel will still be with us. In case you have any question, please feel free to ask on the chat. A quick reminder, if you haven't done your baseline assessment, a link has been shared with you on the chat. Please make sure you do so even as we continue with the session. It's very important for you to do the baseline assessment. Now, right before we get into our training today, I have a question for you. Right now, remember that pen and paper that Joel talked about? Write down 3 things you hope to gain from learning about soft skills. You can write it down on your book, and then once the session is over, you can just look at it and see, okay, were the 3 things that I was hoping to gain, have I been able to gain from this session? So you can just write it down on your book. Just write down, what are the 3 things you hope to gain from learning about soft skills today? Yes, so I'd like to introduce you to our facilitators for the day. We have 2 amazing facilitators who are going to take us through the soft skills training today. Our first facilitator is Esohe Esther. With over 9 years of experience, she has trained professionals across private, public, and international organizations, including GIZ, SMDAN, IOM, the European Union, and Joberman. She has facilitated programs in diverse sectors impacting thousands of individuals and businesses. As a recipient of multiple awards, Esohe won the Under 30 Coaching and Consulting Personality Award and led a team to victory at the 2018 Nigerian Bottling Company Youth Empowerment Summit. She has trained over 5,000 MSMEs and coached more than 655 startups in the last 2 years. Let's give our facilitator a round of applause. Great, thank you, thank you. I can see those claps going. Thank you so much, thank you so much, thank you so much. Our next facilitator is Matthew Husseini. Matthew is an experienced educational leader with over 5 years of experience in teaching and school administration, skills in team leadership, budget management, and strategic planning. He is passionate about creating inclusive learning environments and empowering marginalized communities. As a founder of the Alith Hub, he has led digital upskilling initiative impacting over 1,200 girls in northern Nigeria. Matthew is a lifelong learner. He enjoys hiking, soccer, swimming, and good food. Let's give Matthew a round of applause. Thank you so much. So Esohe and Matthew will be our facilitators for the day. I'd like to welcome this first part. Please ensure that your mic is mute and your video is off. Only the speakers will have their mic and video on so that we all can enjoy the session. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. So I saw I will not be able to take this training this morning. So you do have Fee. So
yeah.
I hope you can pronounce my name. So even if you can't say Fee, Fee is fine in the chat. You can just say hi, Fee. So say hi, Fee. Let me see. I can see you in the chat if you are with me. Hi, Fee. Okay. Hi, Dorcas. Hi, Helen. Hi, Jerome. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your warm welcome. I hope to live up to the big shows that I saw has left. All right, then. So soft skills. We're talking about soft skills today. Thank you, Ezekiel. Ezekiel is trying to pronounce my full name. Thank you so much. So talking about soft skills, I know Pamela Cherono have touched a little bit on it when they were introducing the project and what the training is all about. So I'm curious, what is a soft skill that you believe you have so that I can be able to do a temperature check of, oh, are we all on the same page? So what is a soft skill that you believe you have? So let me know in the chat, just type it down. I can see that we have such a varied crowd today from Eldoret, Mombasa, Nairobi. Awesome. Patricia, thank you. Leadership skill, awesome. Robert, emotional intelligence, fantastic. Ellen is a great organizer. I love that. Vincent's an emotionally intelligent person. Geoffrey is empathetic. Or who else again? So I think I have a lot of people who are emotionally intelligent and people who work well in teams and people who are able to communicate well. And I really, really appreciate that we are all sharing skills that awesome. Douglas pays attention to detail. We're all sharing skills that are actual soft skills. So yes, soft skills are skills that we need to be able to work well and interact well with others, to put it in the most basic of terms. Okay, it's interpersonal skills, it's skills that help us be more effective personally in whatever environment that we find ourselves. So we have skills such as communication, flexibility, your emotional intelligence, your ability to work in a team and to collaborate, your critical thinking skills, your resilience, your time management. These are soft skills, and they differ from hard skills because hard skills are skills that are easier to quantify. You learn a hard skill by going to university or by going to school or by going for an internship or a mentorship program. You're able to learn the hard-on of coding, of learning how to type if you do not know how to type. It's something that you can actually pursue and you get a degree, a certification, something like that. But soft skills are a little bit more elusive. Okay, sometimes it's really the skill set that you have been born with, that you've been raised around, that you're just going to keep on interacting with people. So it's just so important that a session like this is key. It's able to help you define certain terms, be able to help you expand your world and your definitions of certain things. Okay, so in today's session, we're going to be going through 5 key modules. And the first module is all about personal effectiveness, time management, and stress management. In module 2, everything effective communication. In module 3, we're going to be focusing on emotional intelligence, leadership, and teamwork. In module 4, we're focused on employability skills. So please stay tuned to that. You'll be able to see some of the things that Joel went through with us in terms of the Brighter Monday architecture and how to make sure that your profile is seen and relevant to the employers that you care about. We'll be able to talk about that a little bit more in depth. And then in module 5, we're focusing on creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving. So these are key skills that we have identified from the long list of soft skills that are available for us to learn, and seeing that, okay, these are key skills that employers need and will make you employable. Okay, so we're going to dive right into the session. So who is with me? Let me see, type a 1 in the chat if you are with me, if you are ready to go. Awesome. 1. Okay, some people are typing A1 and some people are typing 1. I get it. Thank you so much. Awesome. So, like I said, I love that we're so responsive, and I enjoy a responsive audience. So does Matthew. So please ensure that you are as engaging as possible when we're trying to ask you questions. We know we're going to have a blast today. Okay. So personal effectiveness, time management, and stress management is the first module that we have today. Now, personal effectiveness. What does it mean to be effective? Maybe I should go back. What does it mean to be effective? What does it mean to be effective? When you hear, oh, this person is effective, this process is effective, what does that mean? What's the first word or phrase that comes to mind? Getting things done. Thanks, Helen. Awesome. Doing something in the right way. Thank you, Abednego. Elvis, it is impactful and sticks. That's a really good way of putting it. Thank you. To achieve a goal in an easy way. Okay, easy, I don't know. Okay, but thank you, Jerome, for that contribution. Getting things done properly. Awesome, Vincent. So we have here that personal effectiveness is making the best use, is when we're able to make the best use of the time and the resources that we have at our disposal in order to perform to the best of our ability in whatever environment that we find ourselves. So simply put, time, resources, how are you able to manage both that are present, that are available to you to be able to make the most of wherever it is that you are, either in life or in the workplace or in school, wherever it is that you may find yourself. And there are 4 key components that help us be able to build out our personal effectiveness, okay? The first one is ownership. And ownership is really that end-to-end responsibility. Simply put, ownership is you being able to take accountability when you are right, wrong, when you make a mistake, and when you are able to be successful, okay? It means that you're not blaming anyone for work that's not done well or not executed properly. You are taking responsibility and you are being very results oriented, okay? So that means that even when you're working in a team and you've done your own part of the work, or somebody else has slacked off, okay? Ownership looks like you reaching out to said person and finding out, oh, Patricia, what's happening with you? I wanted to find out what the progress on the project was and how best I may help to be able to ensure that it is completed. Okay, so taking ownership does not mean you're trying to take over the project. I know some people might feel like, oh, when I take ownership, somebody will feel bad about it. No, taking ownership means that you're checking in with everyone to ensure that the work that needs to be done, that needs to be submitted by your team, is done effectively and is executed properly. That leads us to execution. When you are a personally effective person, you are able to deliver your work with speed, with purpose, and accuracy. Okay, it means you're able to pay attention to the details from conception to the end route of execution. That's what it means. So when you execute, I like to say this: when you execute or you execute well, you are able to do your task, your project, you're able to do it well and in the time frame that it has been allotted. Okay, so execution looks like, okay, you are giving a 6-week deadline to complete a project. You being able to complete within that 6 weeks and do it in a way where there's little to no corrections means that you have executed your work properly. Okay, so I hope that is able to give you a definition of what execution looks like. Now, ownership and execution are just going to be moot points if you're not able to have discipline. And discipline is doing what you say you will do when you say you will do it, whether you feel like it or not. In fact, discipline should be our bread and our butter here. It's being able to, it's the bridge. I like to describe it as the bridge that takes us from point A to point B. Discipline is that bridge that takes us from the goals that we have set for ourselves and the goals that we actually accomplish. So it's so important that if you do not want to end 2025 the same way you ended 2024 or the same way you started 2025, you need discipline. Now, learning agility is the final wrap to the bow on the wrap that is personal effectiveness. When you are someone who is an agile learner, you are curious, you're open-minded, you're change resilient, you're able to use transferable knowledge, okay? You're able to take the learning that you've had in one situation and apply it in a new situation. That makes you an agile learner. It looks like you who has a sales background, being able to apply that communication, that emotional intelligence skills that salespeople have, and apply it in your new role as an operations manager or as a CS operator. Okay, so it's so important that you are able to know that there is no skill that is useless when it comes to the working environment. So these are 4 key components of personal effectiveness: ownership, execution, discipline, and learning agility. So let me know right now in the chat, what is the one component that you're going to be working on from today? You're like, Fee, from today, I'm working on my ownership. From today, I'm working on my execution. I'm in the chat. So you can send that into the chat right now. Ownership, definitely. Thank you, Helen. Elvis, discipline, awesome. We all need a little bit more discipline. Same with Meshach, awesome. Learning agility, yes. Ian, fantastic. All right then. Sorry, I think someone is annotating on my screen, so let me take that out. All right then. So that leads us to self-awareness. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being poorly self-aware and 10 being excellently self-aware, what would you rate your self-awareness on a scale of 1 to 10? A 7 out of 10. Thanks, Moses. Helen says a 9. Maurice says a 7. Chat is moving so quickly. Catherine, an 8. Evelyn, an 8. Dorcas is 6. So I think we have like a balance, like on average, the self-awareness level in this room is 7. So that's a decent number. Let's see if it will remain the same when we go through what self-awareness is and so on and so forth. So self-awareness, as Debbie Ford puts it, is the ability to take an honest look at your life without any attachment to you being right or wrong, good or bad. With this definition, it just helps us understand that being self-aware means that you are an observer of yourself. You are able to notice your rhythms, your motives, how you best function, how you feel when you're hungry, how you react when you are angry. Being self-aware is just being able to know who you are, okay? And a good way to be able to so before we even dive into the other aspect of this, I want us to take a minute right now in the chat, or you can also keep it in a notepad, but let's take a minute to talk about this. So what is a strength that you have? One, what is a weakness you have? Two, and how are you tackling said weakness? Okay, so maybe I should go first with my strength and weakness, and let's see if anyone is able to relate with me. So what is a strength that I have? I believe I'm a very resourceful person. It doesn't matter wherever it is I find myself, what kind of role I find myself, even if I've never done something remotely similar to what is being asked of me, I will figure it out. I believe that's the key strength of mine. But what is a weakness is that I can tend to be more of a generalist than someone who niches down and is more specific. So how am I tackling this? I am taking chunks out of the year, like each quarter, I am learning something new, specific, and niching down deeply into that subject matter. Okay, it's just to be able to ensure that even though I like being a generalist, I can, actually have more in-depth conversations, more in-depth workflows about certain things in the subject matter. So that's it about me. Yours doesn't have to be work related. It could be really, really anything. Okay, awesome. Okay, so many people have already responded. Okay, awesome. So Natalie said, my strength, I'm coachable and adaptable. Awesome. So what's your weakness? Felista said, strength, I'm a people person, and weakness, I am a perfectionist. Thank you so much for sharing that. Hannah said, patience is my strength and procrastination is my weakness. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Strength, I'm a hardworking. Weakness, I procrastinate. How I'm tackling it, having a structured way or plan to ensure I complete my task. That's interesting. Thank you so much for sharing, Anne. So thank you to everyone who has shared. I really, really appreciate it for sharing your strength and your weaknesses. So let's dive in a little bit more about self-awareness. You being able to even identify on the spot a key strength of yours and a key weakness of yours is being self-aware. But I want to take it a little bit further and break it down into its two components that form the whole. Okay, so self-awareness has internal self-awareness and external self-awareness. Internal self-awareness is what we're doing now. We're able to notice our rhythms, our motives, how we function best, things like that. So it means that you are aligned, you are aware of what you prefer and you can align with that. Okay. So you being internally self-aware means that, okay, I have this value of honesty, but I'm working in a shady company. Okay, my values are not aligning. Okay. You know that, okay, there's something wrong somewhere. That's, yes, I'm self-aware enough to say that, okay, I'm actually working in a shady company. And then are you going to align with those values? That's totally up to you. Then there's externally self-aware, means that you're able to notice how you impact other people. Okay, so a really good example of this is, let's say I feel like, oh, I enter into a room at the office and I'm feeling very cool with myself. I'm very boisterous. I'm very this, I'm very that. I'm all over the place and things like that. For some people, the impact will be, oh, Fee is such a fun person. She's so lovely to be around. I look forward to meeting her in the morning. But for others, people may find that people that are not necessarily morning people, they'll be like, what is wrong with this Energizer bunny? Why can't she just sit down in one place? Being able to notice how you impact others and then deciding whether you're going to, manage yourself better in certain situations is what external self-awareness is all about. Now, with self-awareness, there's a useful model that we can use to actually get to know ourselves. It is called the Johari window model. The Johari window, it's in 4 quadrants. So the rows, that is the one from left to right. These are information that either are known to other people in your circle or outside and not known to other people, okay? And then in the columns, we have information that is known to yourself. So either it's not known to yourself or it's known to yourself, okay? So in these intersections is what we're going to be talking about. So in the first quadrant, this is information that everyone knows about you. You know it about yourself. Everyone knows it about you. It is the open area or the arena. So let's say we say Maurice is on the call right now. Everyone knows that Maurice is a perfectionist. He needs to ensure that everything is perfectly planned to the T before you can go ahead, okay? That is information that everybody knows about, okay? Now, let's say, in the second quadrant, this is information that is known to other people, but is not known to yourself. This information is what we call the blind spot. And what is a blind spot? It is something that you cannot see about yourself. It is usually we even have a blind spot in our eye that our brains try to fill in to ensure that, okay, we have a complete view of our surroundings. Okay, so a blind spot means you do not know this information about yourself. So this could be positive or it could be negative. It could be that, oh, when Vivian enters a room, she's always smiling. Vivian may not even know this consciously about herself, that like, oh, Vivian is always smiling, but this is information that is known to other people. Now, in the third quadrant, this is information that is known to you, but is not known to other people. Here, it's called the facade, the hidden area. It's information that you can or cannot decide to share. Okay, so let's say we have Ian. Let's say Ian is someone who seems very demure in the office, does his work on time, interacts with people well. By Friday, 5 p.m., closes his work desk and he's on his way out. Okay, people don't know that Ian is actually a party animal on the weekends. That is information that is in the hidden area, because Ian is going to resume on a Monday morning and you're not going to know anything has happened. So it's this is information that he can and decide to share or not share. Now, information in the fourth quadrant is information that is not known to others and is not known to yourself. For me, I like to describe this as the realm of infinite possibilities. It is the place that you are able to discover yourself. Okay, this is information that people cannot know about you because you are yet to experience certain things yet. For instance, no one can know whether I enjoy sushi or not because I've never tried sushi. Okay, I don't know what else it is that you're like, okay, there's certain things that you may not be able to know about me because I am yet to know those things. So the Johari window is just a useful tool to be able to get feedback from other people. You know, sit down with your friends, sit down with your family members, try and find out what information about myself that I actually don't know, positive and negative. Okay, get feedback. Now, self-confidence. I am curious. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being poorly self-confident, 10 being excellently self-confident, what would you rate your self-confidence? Like, what's your self-confidence level on an average day? An average day. So I have a 5, I have a 10, I have a 7, an 8, a 9. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I like that. So with self-confidence, it is just truly the belief that success is possible. It is the opinion that you have of yourself. Okay. So self-confidence is when the opinion you have of yourself far outweighs the opinions of others about yourself. It doesn't mean you're not willing to listen to feedback or willing to hear from other people. In fact, self-confidence and overconfidence, the thin line that differentiates both of them is your ability to ask questions. It's your ability to be humble. It's your ability to see, okay, I am wrong in this instance, or I don't have enough information, or I don't know what to do. Can you help me? That is really the thin line between self-confidence and overconfidence. Now, before I even dive into that properly, I believe that self-confidence is more of an infinity loop, meaning that we go through all the sides of self-confidence every day. Okay. On some days we wake up really self-confident, some things may happen, and we may now feel low self-confidence. On other days, we may be, maybe we're feeling less than ourselves, or so we're trying to start with low self-confidence. Other days we're feeling really good about ourselves and we're entering into the world with overconfidence. So just know that just having the good balance of self-confidence is really what we're trying to aim for. Okay, with low self-confidence, it's more of a self-worth issue. You're feeling like you're not good enough or you're not worthy. And a lot of people who struggle with perfectionism actually have low self-confidence. Okay, people that have imposter syndrome have low self-confidence. But self-confidence is a muscle. It's something that you can exercise. And I believe that as you build competency in certain areas, your self-confidence will definitely increase. As you get older, as you get more refined in wherever it is, as you get more in depth, self-confidence just begins to come. Doesn't mean that when new challenges come, you won't feel fear or you won't feel like, oh, you're not enough. It just means that when you have self-confidence, you know that, okay, I have it within me to be able to accomplish something, so I will. Now, overconfidence, on the other hand, is not a self-worth issue. It is a skill set issue, okay? It is that you do not have the... Hello. Joy, you're yeah. Okay. Hi, Turner. Distracting. All right then. So I hope you can all hear me. So overconfidence, like I said, is a skill set issue. So it's like you do not have the confidence, or not the confidence, you do not have the competence to be able to do certain things. But because you want to show out and show yourself, you are now expressing overconfidence wherever it is that you are. Now, to be able to overcome those self-confidence, a few things must work hand in hand. You must accept yourself as you are. And then once you're able to accept yourself, you're able to build a belief system, okay, about yourself, a positive self-belief. And you can only do that when you are able to see yourself, feel about yourself, and talk to yourself in a positive manner. So see yourself as your best friend. On the days when you're feeling really lonely about yourself, that's not the time to be unkind to yourself or try to push yourself to be more than you can actually deliver in that moment. Give yourself some grace. Yesterday, Friday, I don't know, maybe because it was a Friday mood, I was so apathetic to work. I didn't want to do anything. I just kept on staring at my computer screen and everything. So I just took some time to myself. I'm lucky to work from home. So I went to make something to eat. I ate a bit. And then when I came back from my eating, or my early lunch, shall I say, I sat down at my desk and I was able to bang out certain things. All right. So it's just important that on the days when you're not feeling yourself, you're feeling low self-confidence, that you're able to speak to yourself in a kind manner so that you can be able to influence positive self-esteem and all of that. Now, with overconfidence, like I said, it's a skill set issue. So you need to embrace feedback. Okay. You need to practice self-awareness. Okay, it's so important that you acknowledge uncertainty, that you seek collaboration with other people, that you embrace continuous learning, and that you're able to practice humility. Now we're moving on to time management. Okay, so I'm going to describe what time management is, and then I'm curious as to what is your biggest hindrance to be able to manage your time well. So time management is essentially the process of planning and exercising conscious control of the time you're spending on specific activities, especially to increase your effectiveness, your efficiency, and productivity. Okay, so that's essentially what time management is. So I have a list here, but I'm not even going to show this list. I want you to be honest with me. So what is your own greatest obstacle to time management? What is the obstacle that you face when it comes to time management? Trying to do too much at the same time. Thank you so much, Helen. Procrastination. Thanks, Dorcas, for sharing. A lot of people are going to be telling me procrastination. Social media. Thanks for your honesty, Vincent. Highly distracted, thinking I have a lot of time, easily distracted, prioritizing tasks. Quora. I never thought someone would tell me that Quora was what was distracting them. TikTok, I understand, but Quora, that's so interesting. Thank you for that. So there are various obstacles to our time that hinder us to be able to manage our time effectively, from unclear objectives to overloaded schedules to a lack or failure to prioritize, disorganization, stress and fatigue. There's so many things that may influence how we manage our time. So it's important that we're able to actually identify what the root cause of our problem is. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about that in problem solving. But when it comes to time management, the first thing you need to do is do an audit. You need to figure out, okay, what exactly is it that is happening with my time? How am I actually spending the time that I think that I have or don't have? So this is something that I definitely recommend you do. Okay, so pro tip, if you take nothing else from this session, please take this. Okay, pro tip, take a piece of paper, grab a pen or a pencil, and then fill out from the time that you wake up in 30 minutes in the interval, so the time that you go to sleep. Okay, so this is what I mean. If you wake up at 6, put 6 to 6:30. If you wake up at 7, put 7 to 7:30, and you just start like that, 7:30 to 8, 8 to 8:30, 8:30 to 9. Just increase the timing like that until you go to bed at like maybe 11 or 12 a.m., however it is. Okay, you're not going to pre-fill this. This is not a to-do list. This is not a I would like to do list. Okay, because that's what is usually happening with our to-do lists. I would like to do, but it's not necessarily a reality list. So you're not going to pre-fill this. You're going to look for a day that is a typical day in your life. Like nothing fantastic or out of the ordinary is going to be happening. It's a regular day in your life. I want you to now start feeling in what exactly you do after you do it. Okay. Even if you don't remember, like for like an hour, try and remember, try and think about, oh, this is what I actually went to go and do. Okay. Think about it. So, oh, 6:37, I brushed my teeth, I washed my face, then I went for a walk, or I said my prayers. However it is that you are able to do that. So step by step, I think one thing that you will notice is that the time that you think you are spending on certain things will either increase or decrease. You'll find out that a task that you think takes you 30 minutes actually takes you 2 hours. Okay. A task that you think takes you 2 hours actually takes you 15 minutes. So when you're able to have that structure or that information, because that's what it is, information. Once you're able to have that information in place, you're able to reallocate your time better. So you stop being down on yourself and stop having anxiety and procrastinating. You're able to know, okay, my energy levels are at this level at this time. So I'm able to do this kind of work at this time. Okay. My energy levels are low. So this is the time I'm going to be running errands or doing admin tasks. Okay. So it's just really helpful to be able to learn how to manage your time. Now, the time management matrix is a key matrix. It's similar to how I described the Johari window with the quadrants or the cells. So now, in this case, with the rows or the horizontal lines that go from left to right, we have tasks that are either important or not important. And what does that mean? Important means that it actually affects something in the bottom line. There is going to be real world consequences for this not getting done. Okay. And then there's urgent and not urgent in the columns or in the vertical lines going from top to bottom. Okay. So this is activity that it needs to be done immediately. Okay. So it doesn't necessarily denote whether it's important or not. It just shows that, okay, there's an urgency to it. So in the first quadrant, these are activities that you actually need to do immediately. You can't wait on them. They are deadline-driven activities. They could be medical emergencies for a family member or for yourself. It could be, oh, a colleague had to take their child to school, so you now have to step in to take a presentation. That is activities that will happen in the first quadrant. In the second quadrant, these are activities that are important, but they are not urgent. This is the sweet spot to be in. If you're someone who has anxiety and likes to and maybe has some issues managing your time, you need to be able to schedule and plan and delay in this quadrant. Okay, so common activities will be exercising, scheduling your exercises, in being able to build relationships, maybe in your working environment. In quadrant 3, this is information or activities that are urgent, but they are not important. Okay, so it can be a very deceitful quadrant. So you need to learn that, okay, when it comes to managing your time, you either delegate this task, maybe, oh, give it to a younger sibling or give it to another colleague to help you out or start something while you figure out a Q1 or a Q2 activity. And then you're also able to push it back. If you don't need to delegate it or if it's not a pressing issue, you can definitely push back until later. So some of these things would include maybe replying to WhatsApp texts from a colleague, replying to emails to see acknowledged from your superiors. Now, the fourth quadrant, when it comes to managing our time, you either don't do it or you eliminate it, because in this quadrant, the activities here are not important and they are not urgent. Okay, so these are social media, TV, most WhatsApp calls. So when it comes to managing our time, I want to say this. You need to learn to write out a daily plan ahead of time. So once you do your audit, you're better able to have information and you can plan better. So now you're no longer ascribing little time to the tasks that actually take longer. You need to learn when to say no. Pro tip. Okay, another pro tip for you. When you say yes to someone, you are saying no to yourself. Every single time you say yes to someone, you are saying no to yourself. So ensure that the yeses you are saying are valuable yeses so that you can also keep on saying yes to yourself. Okay? Recognize that obstacles exist, identify them, and make plans or employ strategies to be able to tackle them. Okay? Make the most of your free time and always reward your success. Watching the news or watching TV is not important when it comes to like the actual day. Let's say you're working or you're in school, wherever it is, being able to watch the news is something that you can do in your leisure time. It's essentially what it is. So when we're talking about this, is like these are activities that you need to be doing that actually impact something. Okay. So now I think I'm going to be moving to stress management. How many of us know the difference between chronic stress and acute stress? Do you know the difference between chronic stress and acute stress? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. Chronic never goes away. Okay. Thanks, Helen. Okay, so thank you. So when it comes to stress, okay, chronic stress is essentially stress that has been happening for a long period of time. So we would say burnout falls into this category of chronic stress. When you get burnout, that is an effect or a byproduct of chronic stress. We also have acute stress. And acute stress is something that is sudden onset. Okay, so maybe it's very, very short term, doesn't last long. So it could be maybe you are under pressure for a particular deadline. Maybe it could be, God forbid, a child ends up in the hospital. Things like that can cause acute stress. But there are various stressors and triggers that actually affect us in our day-to-day, from excessive burden at work to social media to victimization to financial instability to incurable illness. So there's so many stresses that we deal with. So a few ways that we can try to manage the stress in our lives include being able to take time for ourselves, to meditate, to exercise, to spend time in nature, to sleep well, to connect socially, to eat well, and to actually try to make lists so that we can prioritize our tasks. So I want to say this, like, as you can see, most of the tips here are things that you need to do in solitude. So, and some of them also you have to do in community, okay, like connecting socially with other people. So the things that you need to do in solitude are things that are supposed to, relax you. You need to be able to decompress. Then you're able to now rest. Then you are able to rejuvenate. Okay, because a lot of people feel like sleeping alone is a really good stress manager, but truly it is not. Okay, sleeping most of the time is really just resting. So let me phrase it like this: when you get back from work or get back from school, wherever it is that you are, and you come back and maybe you watch a TV show, that is you decompressing. Okay, you're trying to relax. Okay, then when you're able to fall asleep or sleep, you're resting. But we often do not give time to be able to rejuvenate. And rejuvenation is essential to be able to manage life in general. Okay, so rejuvenation means you're pouring back into yourself. You're doing activities that bring you joy. You're playing, you're enjoying yourself. You're able to exercise and meditate and spend time outside and feel the sun on your face. Okay, you're able to connect with your friends. Things like that are the activities that rejuvenate us and that we should try our best to be able to incorporate wherever it is that we find ourselves. So I'm going to end the session with this. Kevin recently started as an administrative assistant at a small company. While he is enthusiastic about learning, he feels overwhelmed managing multiple tasks, such as scheduling meetings, responding to emails, and maintaining reports. Kevin often procrastinates because he doubts his abilities and struggles to organize his time effectively. What can Kevin do to improve his self-confidence? And secondly, how can Kevin manage his time well? So I'm curious, what do we think Kevin can do? He's been newly appointed as admin assistant. He's enthusiastic about the position, but there's so much that's coming at him, so he's not able to manage it well. So because of that, he's doubting himself, he's procrastinating because he's doubting himself and he's struggling to organize his time, simply put. So what can Kevin do to improve his self-confidence? And how can Kevin manage his time better? Okay, Guilford says Kevin should learn about the time management quadrant. Okay, thanks, Kent. Okay, thanks, Guilford. So Felista, write a work plan. Really, really helpful too. Thank you. Ian, Kevin needs to believe in himself. He needs to organize his tasks on urgency basis. Thanks, Mohammed. Helen says he can ask for guidance so he gets confidence he's doing it well. Yes, I think that's also a really good idea as well. Kevin should practice self-awareness to overcome self-confidence. Carrying out a SWOT analysis, he can form a to-do list. Thanks, Patricia. To manage his time, he should assess the urgency of his task and make a schedule. Thanks, Paris. These are really, really good tips. I really, really appreciate that. So this brings us to the end of module 1, and I will be handing off right now to Matthew to take on for Module 2, Effective Communication. So feel free to let me know what's the one thing that you've learned from today's session. And I'll see you soon. Over to you, Matthew.
All right, thank you very much, Payne. That was amazing. I, at the point, got lost trying to take a whole lot from it. There was so much coming, and I'm sure we can all feel the energy from that session. And I hope we've been learning. I hope we've been learning. It's amazing. And trust me, we're just getting started yet. So why don't we sit back, relax, and then enjoy as we tag along. Just so you know, the slide will be shared to you at the end of the session. So I know we are all eager to take points and take things down as they reflect on our screen, but I would like to appeal that you try and listen also so you don't miss out. Yes, I am sure you'll be getting the slide later, hopefully after you've answered your baseline test. So I'll be sharing my screen now. Okay, please can I get a reaction if you can see my screen? Thank you very much, amazing, awesome. So then before we do this, I would like us to try out a task. So you have an image in front of you. You can see a family setup. In just a minute, I would like us all to identify as much words as you can see in this image. I'd like to have them in the comment section. Couch, okay, novel, page, book, literature books, reading, people, words. Okay. Okay, that's amazing. So that's fine. While you keep that coming, I'm just going to, now this is our answer. I hope all of us, or most of us, were able to get the response. So we have cook, we have words, we have read, page, novel. How many of us were able to get all of it? If you do, be honest with yourself and clap for yourself. Okay, so move to the next, move to our topic, effective communication. Effective communication. Effective communication will be the next module we're looking at. And then for this session, we are hopeful that by the time we are done, we should be able to identify key elements and principles of communication. We should be able to develop active listening and empathy skills towards others, learn the effect of nonverbal messages and what it is telling others. And then you should be able to describe your own communication style and strength. So are we ready? Yeah. So communication, what is communication before we look at effective communication? For communication, basically, it's interaction between two or more persons primarily. Communication is the interaction between two or more persons. It is something we do virtually every day of our life. Every minute of our life, communication goes on. Once there are more than one person there, even on yourself, between yourself, you interact with your subconscious self. But then communication is what goes on between two or more persons. And now effective communication, on the other hand, occurs during the course of this exchange between two or more persons, what is the end product of that? The essence of effective communication is that during the course of the exchange, both parties are supposed to, the receiver of the message is supposed to have understood what the sender of the message is conveying. For a message to be able to be delivered, to be effective, it would have been successfully conveyed to the recipient, and the recipient would have decoded, deciphered, or understood it properly, and the sender can only know via a feedback. So communication on one hand is the interaction between two parties, two or more persons. Meanwhile, effective communication on the other hand, communication can only be effective if there is if the recipient has understood that message properly, deciphered it, and can be able to give a feedback. So I'm just going to ask, before we go further, Africans were blessed with so many tongues, languages. I just want to ask, what is communication in your own language? I would like to see that in the comment section. What is communication in your language? The word. Dialogue is in English.
Matthew, even as we are getting comments on the chat, maybe you could, I see comments, full screen. Maybe they're not seeing your screen very well.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me read that.
If you have challenge with that, let Faye share the screen while you continue.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Can Faye share? Aaron, are you with me? Okay. All right, thank you. So yes, I'm seeing passing information. Okay. Oh my God. Apologies, I may not be able to call these words, right? But I think, okay, Woyo, Okubola, Ngalalet. Okay, amazing. And Tudruk. Amazing. Thank you, HMB Global. Well, yeah, so all of these words are what explains, are what loosely translates communication in our language. But communication, if you check these words, you may get to see that you are primarily referring to word of mouth, communication by word of mouth. That is what some of these words I've sampled a couple of languages in our local setup, and communication directly translates into word of mouth in our local dialect. But is that really what communication is, Faye? Oh, that's not it. So we'll move to the next. Yeah, thank you, Faye. So that will bring us to this next slide, Adaptability communication model. This model seeks to explain better to us what communication entail, according to the psychologist Albert Mehrabian. According to him, only about 7% of communication seen in yellow, on the pie there, yellow, is actually word of mouth. 7%. A large chunk here is on voice and tone modulation. And even the larger chunk is on body movement. So it's as communication goes on in our workplace, our businesses, our places of life, different walks of life, we get to interact with people. But most times we focus more on communication as word of mouth. According to this model, it is trying to explain to us that there are more information being shared via body movement than just word of mouth. So if only we pay attention to body movement, if only we pay attention to the tonation of a voice, we may not be able to communicate effectively with someone. We may not be able to communicate in such a way that we can get positive feedback or proper feedback from them. So we must learn to understand how people communicate in every setup that we find ourselves. You can be in a workplace, you've been trying to reach out to your boss for 2 hours, but you're not getting his attention, probably because you're not reading his mood. It matters a great deal to be able to read the countenance of people, to be able to read the state of mind of people at that point, to be able to understand if they are ready and willing to have that communication as a whole before you even start up. Because at the end of the day, if you can't get, if the sender of the message can't get a positive feedback, it means that message in the first place was not communicated properly. So you get to see that communication can only work effectively if we understand better how people choose to communicate. In our local setup at home, we can easily identify with our parents, say our mother. There are times when you go visiting as a young child, as a little child with your mom to a friend or a family friend. And the instruction from the house is, do not, once you get served a meal, do not eat that meal. There are parents who are that strict. Do not take anything a stranger gives to you. And then you get there, you get served that meal, and there is an instruction. You want to take this meal, but you don't know. Your mom has given you an instruction already. Sometimes by just looking at your mom, the kind of eye she will look at you, it's enough, it gives the message already. So we need to understand these communication models. We need to understand communication patterns to be able to have a very effective communication. I hope we understand that. So can we move, please, Finn? Okay, good. So we'll move to 7 C's of effective communication. Yeah, these are basic characteristics to have communication effectively. Clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, cautious. For a message to be clear, you have to make your objective and the purpose of your message to be clear. Avoid the use of complex words. Some of us choose to want to show our professorial status when having conversation with people. Yeah, bombastic side high. Thank you. Yeah, so some of us want to use complex words to communicate with people. When you do that, sometimes you may be passing a message by it. You think you're passing a message, but is the person on the other side getting that message? Is he understanding the message? Is he deciphering that message? Or else it will not be an effective communication. Your message should be clear and straight to the point. Avoid unnecessary jargons. You could actually just keep messages simple. You can keep information simple and people understand it better. So keep your messages concise. It should be concrete, not vague. Use facts and figures. Your presentation, your communication, what are you saying? Are you being overly exaggerative? So keep them concrete. They should be correct. Avoid typos. In this modern day, you find yourself easily trying to send a message on WhatsApp and mistakenly there's a typographical error or something. Even an email, it happens when sending an email. You can easily just make mistake and send. So be sure of what you are saying. Use the right language. Use the right figures. Avoid unnecessary errors as much as possible so that you don't get misunderstood by that message you're sending. It should be coherent. They should make sense. When messages are not when messages, informations are being shared and they're not well thought out, they're not well sent out, it will be difficult for the recipient to just get what you're saying. Sometimes it makes sense to you, but to the recipient, it is none. And at the end of the day, that message may be misunderstood. It should be complete. What is the essence of giving an instruction? If that instruction is not complete, at the end of the day, the recipient cannot get the full meaning of what you are saying to be able to make a proper or informed decision. So our instructions should be clear, should be complete and straight. We do have this. You can have this with some kind of bosses that you have at work. There are some persons who seem like they are designed to just want to make you feel that moment. So the nature of that information, the nature of that directive that comes, it is either it is not complete, it is not clear, you can't just make sense out of it, and it is a directive and you have to carry it out. It will turn out as if that person is set up to want to just make you fall, right? So informations, messages sent should be complete, and then be polite. When sending messages, when communicating, use your words. Are there teachers here? If there are teachers here, I would like, can anyone help me with the 5 magic words? Yes, if you know any of the 5 magic words, I would like you to send them in the comment section. 5 magic words. Okay, I'm saying kindly. Please, yes. Thank you. Naomi, please, sorry, Sarah. Diana, please, yeah. Thank you, please, thank you, thank you. Yeah, please, may I? Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so please, excuse me, sorry, thank you, pardon me. These are words that you can use in communicating respectfully when having communications. Thank you very much. Yeah, I like that. Thank you. Faye, please. So tips on effective email communication. I think it's something we can take our time to really study about, how to send email. In our modern day life, as job seekers, as employees of organization, it is vital that we understand emailing system and how we should send emails. Sometimes your email, we send email as though we are sending a cover letter or a full letter. So these are just tips on tips on effective communication while sending an email. So be precise, be clear, be concise with your message. Keep it short, but then concise, right? Utilize paragraph spacing by detailing different topics in separate paragraphs. So yeah, a line is enough, a paragraph is enough to explain what you want to say, to explain your response in each email. Before sending, always reread your message, check for grammar and spelling words. Unfortunately, it is not like WhatsApp where you can immediately just edit that error that you've sent out. Sometimes you may not have the luxury to be able to do that. There are some mails that you just send it and you don't even know you've made a mistake. God bless you. You have a boss who is considerate and can be able to call your attention to that. So you have to be, no matter how hasty you are about sending a message, ensure you reread your message, check for grammar and spellings before you send them. Avoid shortcut smileys. Emails are official form of communication. You don't want to send email and you are adding shortcut word, FYI, what are those words? Those short words that we use to think, most times when we're communicating with our friends and foes, but in email, you have to keep it professional, right? Smileys, avoid abbreviation, unnecessary. Yeah, TMI, I don't know. If you know, you know. ETC, yeah, we know all of this. By the way, thank you. LOL. Why will you have LOL in your email, right? So keep it professional as much as possible, as much as possible. Yeah, respect email privacy by not copying unrelated recipients. I don't know if anyone does this, but it is possible, yeah. Yeah, sometimes you think you just want to make it easy for yourself. You send an information to someone, maybe a superior of yours, and the response was supposed to go to him. But just because you feel like you need to have every other person at that level, probably you're sending it to a procurement manager, you need to have the admin, you need to have the sales manager on board, and then without directive, you copy all of them into this. It's not proper. Respect email privacy. If the instruction is not saying you should copy other recipients, do not copy. Then mention your attachment in the content. So I just want to ask, for example, I am applying for a job and it's requesting that I attach my CV and cover letter. Can I just get a sentence of how you do that? Let's just have ideas of how we go about it. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, please find attached my CV and my cover letter. Attached is my CV and cover. Kindly find attached my resume for your present. Amazing, amazing. We got this covered it already. So yes, mention it. Always indicates that you are attaching a file. It also helps your consciousness. Sometimes you are supposed to attach this document to a mail and you forget. But you typing that, you adding that already would bring it to your consciousness that you are yet to attach this document to it. So we'll move. Thank you very much. Faye? Yes, barriers to communication. What are those barriers to communication? Physical. We have physical barriers. They could be distractions, right? They could be noise. Could be in a noisy environment. When you're in a noisy environment, you easily get distracted. Phone calls, you're chatting, messages coming in here and there. You can easily get distracted. Psychological. Yes, you are trying to reach out to someone, you're trying to communicate with someone, but the person is not mentally stable at that point. It is of the essence that you understand people's temperament, you understand people's mental state to be able to communicate better with them. If they're not in the best state of self, best state of mind, it will affect that communication process. Semantics, yes, use of words, languages, jargons. You don't need to show yourself while trying to communicate to people. So I go back to I come to a place where I feel like I am learned, more literate than people, and I start throwing jargons and grammar at them. They will be clapping at you and waving at you, but are you really communicating? Is that process really going on? Right? So these are barriers to communication. You could also attach other barriers that you think. What are those things that affect communication process that you know? Please attach them. You can have them sent into the chat group. I'd like to see them while we move on. Yes, how can we overcome barriers to effective communication? Jennifer, thank you. Language barriers, yeah. Noise, exactly. Environment, preconceived judgment, yes, thank you. So how can we overcome this? So language has different meanings. You should understand when reaching out to people, when communicating at your workplace, at your environment, at home, wherever you are, how best do you communicate? What form of communication do you use? It may not be language by tongue, by mother tongue, which also can be a barrier. If I am, say for example, I don't understand Swahili and I'm supposed to present this now without English language, I'm sure we know it's going to be a chaos here. So you need to understand your audience to know how best to reach them. You need to know if the people you are reaching out to, what kind of, is it a social group? Is it a formal group? That way you know what words, what context is best to use. Frame of reference. We need to understand that people's perspective is being shaped by their background, their cultural background, their religious background. So it will help us know how best to communicate to them. If I'm trying to send an information where your understanding will be influenced by your religious background, it's important I know that before communicating, so I don't end up sending a wrong information. So I don't end up putting you in a state where you cannot be able to understand that information I'm trying to pass. So you need to understand the audience, understand their background, their cultural background, their religious background, what makes up their thought process. Emotion, yes, present logical and not emotional arguments. Some of us argue with emotions. You see that mostly in football. Are there football lovers here? Yeah, you come to a football house, and not even a football house, on the street, a lot of people are arguing with so much energy, and you wonder where is all of this coming from. When arguing or having conversations, try and state fact. Try as much as possible to reduce how much we go into conversations with emotions. That way, we will be less misunderstood, right? Try and have logical conversation. Use your precise words. It will help you communicate better, right? Distractions, yes, like we've had here. Avoid noisy backgrounds. Avoid, what do you call it? You're supposed to have a session. Sorry. You're supposed to have a session. You're online. On my laptop presently, and then WhatsApp message pops in, Twitter pops in, Google pops in. They can all be distractions. So for communication to be effective, you need to understand how to, as much as possible, reduce distractions around you so that you can have a very effective communication process. Thank you. Yeah, insufficient information. Yeah, we spoke about that earlier. Be clear of what you say and fear of judgment, not having confidence. Yeah, all of this can serve too. Thank you. Active listening. Yeah, active listening. It's a conscious choice which goes beyond just hearing. So active listening is something that, interestingly, people are beginning to add to their CVs. Job seekers are adding it to their CVs. Are you a good listener? Are you an active listener? Do you just listen during conversations to respond? Do you just listen during conversations to argue? Right? So for one to be an active listener, you must involve prime hearing, seeing, interpreting. And all of this will be possible only when you observe properly, you pay attention to conversation without necessarily interrupting. As teachers, you have students in your class of different behaviors. You're teaching and there is that child who the energy level is so high, he's always trying to ask a question, he's always raising up the hand. Yes, he's right, but at the same time, he's interrupting. Is interrupting the session because you need to stop and answer that student. Is interrupting those who have very short attention span and need to keep at what you are saying as the teacher. So you need to, as much as possible, listen without unnecessarily interrupting. You need to listen with the essence of understanding and giving a feedback and not necessarily reacting to instructions or questions as they come. So what are the signs of an active listener? Maintaining appropriate eye contact. Yes, that's one way. That's one sign of an active listener. Be patient. Yeah, I talk, you talk. Everyone will have their time to talk. So don't be eager to want to respond. Be patient. Encourage the speaker, non-verbal. Yes, this is going on presently. As I'm talking, as Fenyo was talking, I could see reactions coming in. From your reactions, from different emojis, I could see, is there any difference between hearing and listening? Yes, there is actually. There is. Hearing, you could, I think listening is much deeper than just hearing. So we pick words, we pick informations as they come, but listening comes with, yeah, listening, hearing is part of listening. Yeah, it's a part of it, but listening is a deeper part of hearing. With listening comes with better understanding, clearer understanding. So I dare say most people hear, but do everybody actually listen? I think that's one question you want to have a look at. So yes, reactions, you react to encourage the speaker that is doing well by either smiling, by nodding, by question marks for clarity. Yeah, so these are ways of, these are signs of an active listener. Pay attention to body language and tone of voice. Yes, if you are that sensitive and pay attention to details, you'll be able to get information clearer from the sender, right? Summarizing and paraphrasing what someone has said, only when you must have listened clearly. Listening is deeper and it comes with comprehension. Yeah, thank you. Listening entails all aspects of communication. Yeah, listening is paying amazing, amazing. We're doing just fine. We're doing fine. Thank you, Shane. Next slide, please. Delivering feedback. Okay, please go back a bit. Please go back, delivering feedback. Yes, feedback. So I'm just going to ask us, feedback, we know is vital to the communication process. Feedback is prime. Feedback, I can say, completes the entire communication process. So that is the only way the sender can know that he has the process of exchange of information, knowledges that he has shared was properly understood. So I would want to ask, now during the course of feedback, it is not just in communication. You are assigned a task at your workplace, at home, and then you do that task. At the end of the day, you are expecting that you get a review of what you have done, because that is the only way that we can be better at what we do. So feedback is a vital process. So now I'm asking, how best would you like to be corrected when you say, for example, you perform a task? How best would you want to be corrected? Or you make a mistake while carrying out a task. How best do you think you want to be corrected? I'd like to see that on the comment section. Anyone can just go. Polite criticism. Don't correct me in front of anyone. Call me aside. I'm paying you salary. I'm not paying you salary. You're telling me not to correct you in front of everyone. Amazing. Sharing your thoughts and ideas. Positive compliment. What could be done? Positive. Okay. I really love taking corrective feedback because it helps me improve. Yes. Thank you. You can keep them coming. Constructive criticism. Fahim, please. Good. So there are many ways of giving feedback, right? But for this session, and one prime way, one very important way of giving feedback is the feedback sandwich. Now, whichever way you choose to, the essence of feedback is to make the person better. The essence of giving feedback is to correct somebody, is to give your criticism without making the person feel worse off. Because what is the essence of a feedback if at the end of the day, you are not seeking to improve that person? And remember, feedback is both ways. So I gave you an information, I'm getting a feedback from you, and I'm also giving you a review of what tax I've given you. So we should be open to feedback from both ways, either the sender or the receiver. So the feedback sandwich, as we're seeing in the image here, it's showing a positive, a negative feedback, and a positive. But I would like to want to say a positive, a constructive feedback, and a positive. Don't correct me. Okay. All right, just giving examples. Yeah, a positive, so it can be a praise, then it can be a constructive feedback, and then a praise also. So it's a way of trying to package it without making the person feel worse off. Someone carries out a task, someone delivers on a task, and you want to give the person a correction. You don't throw it outrightly to the person. You don't correct them just by condemning them. You want to do it in the best of way that they are going to feel that they've done something, they are doing something good, and then they can do better. Take, for example, let me use Sophie or Bonyo. I hope I got that correctly. So say Sophie is the manager of a restaurant, and I just walk into that restaurant. I'm supposed to have this session in that restaurant. I need a quiet place, for example. And then I come in, I have a very amazing meal, food, and all through the session, there is this music blasting from the background that just keeps going, which is understandable. It's a restaurant, music can be playing, but maybe way too loud. So how best can I give this correction to, how can I give a feedback to Sophie without necessarily making her feel worse off? Sophie, the food was amazing. The services was top notch. Even though the sound was a bit louder, and I know it can be better improved so that we can all listen to ourselves, because I observed I was raising my voice, I was shouting while communicating with my friend, but I still feel like it's one of the best services I've gotten, and I look forward to coming here. So I've packaged this in such a way that Sophie got her praise, Sophie knows what she's doing in her restaurant, and at the same time, Sophie can tell how I felt while that sound was ongoing. That way, and then at the end of the day, I'm making Sophie understand that I look forward to coming back there. So I've packaged my feedback and given to Sophie without telling Sophie that, is this all what you people do here? You're busy, can't you do better? Don't you know humans, we need to listen? You know, you're not attacking Sophie. You're just trying to package your feedback in such a way that it is understandable, it is accepted, and the person accepting that feedback, the person you are giving the feedback to, will better appreciate you and even want to do better. So that is generally what we have about feedback sandwich. There are others, you can browse about them, but trust me, you want to try this. I don't believe that if you try feedback sandwich of anyone, they would want to feel any worse off. Thank you, Faye. Good. So we're having the feedback staircase. It's important as individual and as managers, as our place of work, we understand the feedback staircase. This is a process that one experiences. This is a process that one goes through when getting a feedback. It is not everyone that you try to correct that will just take your corrections immediately. Some of them would go through these processes, and it is important that we all know them so that we will better know how to manage them. So you or yourself don't lose it while trying to give a feedback to somebody. They are definitely going to deny it for some, right? You're accusing me of this, I didn't do it. They will want to defend eventually. You wouldn't understand why I did what I did, right? They are on the defensive. They want to explain. Yeah, I know I did it, but it is because you can see it's a progressive process. Like, I see what you're talking about. I understand better now. This is cool. This is what I'm going to do about it. So that till that positive change, you as an individual need to understand the process so that you can be patient with the person you're trying to correct, with the person you're trying to give a feedback to, so that you can be able to take them from this denial phase to the change phase without losing them halfway. If we as individuals don't understand the processes of this, we would lose the person. At the end of the day, we will not make them any better. We will only make them worse than we have met them. I hope that is clear. Can we move to the next slide, please? Okay, so we have a case study. Sarah works at a retail store and often faces misunderstanding with her manager because she doesn't communicate her needs clearly. So the question we're having for this task will be, what could Sarah do to improve her communication with her manager? How can active listening help Sarah in this situation? I'd like to see your comments your response in the comment section. Sarah works at a retail store and often faces misunderstandings with her manager because she doesn't communicate her needs clearly. What could Sarah do to improve her communication with her manager? How can active listening help Sarah in this situation? Please, I'd like to see your comments in the sections. I'd like to see your responses. Put yourself in the shoes of Sarah. How do you think you're going to react to that? How do you think you're going to respond? What do you think can improve? Look for intermediary, okay? That works. Listen to understand, okay? Enroll to training program to improve the same. Third person, yeah. Okay, amazing. Should be open and share with the manager. Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so I believe by the end of this session, while you keep your comment, we need to move on. I hope by the end of this, you'll be able to understand what effective communication is, what communication is and what effective communication is, what the 7 C's of communication are, right? And how to have our messages delivered properly. Remember, they are about my Arabian model of communication. And then we know how best to communicate with each other. We're all born to be able to communicate, but to have effective communication, we need to keep improving on ourselves. We need to keep building ourselves. So it's a never-ending phase. We need to keep improving. With all of this that we get, I hope we're going to instill all of that. It will help us to be better individuals, both at work, at home, anywhere we find ourselves. Remember, the essence of soft skills, is to give you that edge in the society when interacting with the next person. All right, next slide. She should approach him and have a discussion on how to work better. Yeah, recognize. It should be clear and concise, and she should use any materials. All right, thank you. We'll move so our next model, emotional intelligence, teamwork, and business etiquette. All right, thank you. So for this session, by the end of this session, it is expected that we'll be able to discover what emotional intelligence is and why it is so important, pinpoint behavioral styles and how to work with different styles, identify the signs of high and low emotional quotients in themselves and those around you, and recognize the importance of working in a team. Yeah. Okay. All right, please, can we move to the next slide, please? So what then is emotional intelligence? What then is emotional intelligence? I would like to believe this is not the first time we are we're meeting this word, emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence per se is a state of awareness. So it's a conscious state of awareness of one's emotion and how it plays out. Not necessarily just yours, but the emotions of those around you, and then yours and those around you, right? Emotional intelligence is, sorry. Emotional intelligence refers to being aware of the emotions that can drive one's behavior and impact people positively or negatively. Learning how to manage their emotions, both our own and that of others. So it is known that most times the emotions of staff in an environment affect their performance level. It is a stated fact that it affects performance level. It affects how we take information. It affects how we carry out our tasks. It affects how we interact with each other. So it is prime that we must have a high level of intelligence on our emotions, how we manage them, and also understand the mood of others and how we can manage that of our colleagues, our friends that we interact with. This next. Yes, so what are the competencies of emotional intelligence? How can you tell if you're emotionally intelligent? My colleague Fayin has spoken about self-awareness, right? Man, know thyself, know yourself, know who you are, know what you are. Self-regulation, how much regulation do you have over your emotions? Before you even want to talk of regulating that of others, how much do you have of yourself? How much can you control yourself? How much can you control your anger? How much can you control how you take feedback? Mind you, I think it's important I put it that some people may not know how to give you feedback. So when it comes in a negative form, when it comes in a harsh form, how can you take it in good faith? So self-regulation, yeah, social skills while interacting with others. How do you best reach out to people? How do you understand people's temperament? Do you know how to, do you understand their mental state? Do you understand your own mental state so you know how best to reach them? Empathy. Empathy as a skill. Can you be able to put yourself in other person's shoes? Are you that sensitive enough to understand what the next person is going on? Do you know how ready they are for the task you're about to assign them? Some of us as managers, we don't just read the mood. You come and then you just bash a staff with
Hi everyone. So I think Matthew had a network difficulty. So let me quickly go through this. So essentially, these are the emotional intelligence competencies that we have. You need to be self-aware. You need to learn how to self-regulate. You need to also have good social skills. What does that mean? That you're able to build and maintain networks of people as friends, as colleagues, being able to walk into a room and be able to decipher the power structures and know how you want to lean is also a key social skill. When it comes to okay. So you also need to learn how to lead with empathy, meaning that you are able to commiserate with others. You're able to see where the shoe hurts. When you, I think you're wearing someone else's shoe, you're able to see where it is hurting them specifically. That is when you're able to be empathetic. And then motivation. Motivation is there's internal motivation and there's external or intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. With intrinsic motivation, it means that you're motivated beyond just wealth accumulation. You're not just looking for money. You're not just looking for recognition, but you also value a sense of purpose, a sense of impact. Okay, so that's intrinsic. Not that anyone is bad or good, but intrinsic motivation usually keeps you going on your journey longer than it would extrinsic motivation. So these are the 5 key competencies of emotional intelligence. Now, when it comes to building and managing networks and working with others, there's a key tool that we can use to be able to do that. Okay, so as you know, people come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and personalities, and that is where the DISC behavioral style comes in. So the DISC behavioral style is essentially a tool that we can use to understand ourselves, and others better. Okay, so what do I mean by this? I mean, oh, you're able to learn that, okay, I'm a dominant person, so this is where my area of growth is. So when I'm talking to someone who is an influencer, okay, this is how I should go about it. When I'm talking to somebody who's a steady personality, this is how I should go about it. It's essentially a toolkit to be able to help us work better with others who have personalities that don't necessarily match our own. Okay, so a dominant personality. So right now, before we dive into it, I'm curious, what do you think your personality style is? Let me know in the chat. What is the personality style you think that you have? Are you a dominant personality? Are you an influential personality? Are you a steady personality? And are you a conscientious personality? Let me know while we dive a little bit deeper into each of them. So a dominant personality is someone who is a strong bottom line organizer. They place a very high value on time. They are very innovative. They're people that are go, go, go. They're very push forward. They're always seeking practical solutions. Do you know anybody on your team or in your family who is like, they don't really sit down to whine about a problem. They're always looking, okay, how can we go about it? How can we move on to ensure that things are done properly? So an area of growth for anyone who has a dominant personality style is that you need to strive to learn to be an active listener, and you need to appreciate the opinions of others. Also, becoming more approachable so that people will be able to know, okay, you are someone who is willing to listen to others is also key as well. With an influential personality, these personalities are a lot more friendly. They're the people person in the group, okay? They are great encouragers. They know how to motivate a group. They know how to, organize people, get consensus, essentially. They're really good consensus builders. They are great networkers, and they're always thinking of new activities to do, and they're very inspirational by nature. Okay, so an area of growth for the influential personality would be to always consider the ideas of others. You're not the only creative person in the room. You need to learn to follow through. Okay, we already talked about execution, and you also need to be able to slow down your pace for others. A lot of influential personalities, because they are all so sometimes they're really creative, they are talking to so many people, so they are always having new and really good ideas. It can be really hard for them to actually follow through and actually stay with the pace. So it's important that you learn how to manage yourself better. Now, a steady personality is a personality that is reliable and dependable. This is like the mom or the dad of your friend group. So these personalities are really loyal to team authority. They don't really try to rock the boat. They respect authority, great listeners. They are patient, they're empathetic. They're typically the one trying to mediate any kind of issues that may be happening amongst the other personalities. So typically for this area of growth, you need to learn to be open to change. You need to be direct in your interactions, speak up more in meetings, speak up more for yourself and for others as well. Just really be able to express your own ideas and opinions. And then finally, we have the conscientious personality. This person is, they are very analytical. They are able to think through things to the end. Okay, they are very solutions oriented. They are very persistent. They are problem solvers. Okay, and they're able to gather, analyze, and test information. So the area of growth here, the key thing here is they need to avoid the paralysis of analysis. Okay, because they are so good at analyzing stuff, sometimes they get stuck in that place. So they will now be focusing more on the facts, on the rudimentaries, instead of like being able to focus on people and be able to tell the story that the facts are saying. Okay, so you need to also work on building those relationships. So now that I've described the 4 personality styles, what personality style do you have? What personality style do you have? Okay, so is it still the same? I'm seeing so many steady personalities here, conscientious personalities. Awesome, awesome. I like that. There are a lot of steady people here. I like that. So this is something that you can think about maybe after the session. So what are some of the situations, good, bad, ugly, that you have witnessed with people in the past 1 week? What was your response? And what was the result? So of course, this slide will be shared later, but you could note down the columns. So people are the person involved, the situation that occurred, how you reacted, how did people react, and what was the outcome. So this is essentially just supposed to be able to give you information in terms of how you interact with others, okay? Haha, on the other corner is introversion. Yes, essentially. So I'm a conscientious personality. I believe I'm a conscientious personality. But I mean, I think you could have a mix of two, actually. You could be both dominant and conscientious. You could be both influential and steady. Who knows? So now moving on to teamwork. Now, what is a team? A team is a collection of individuals organized to accomplish a common purpose. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being poor teammates and 10 being excellent teammates, what would you rate your teamwork skills? What would you rate your teamwork skills? Rispa a 9, Felista a 9. We have steady personalities here. So yes, I would guess that a lot of us are actually really good team workers. So teamwork is the ability to work together towards a common vision. Okay. So essentially you're driving all your energy, driving all individual accomplishments towards an organizational objective. And there are various things that happen to be able to hinder teamwork. So I'm curious, what is your biggest barrier to teamwork? What have you found has been really challenging when it comes to managing teamwork, being able to be in a team, even if you're not the leader, like just being in a team, what has been like one of the greatest things that you have faced? Others not doing their parts. Thanks, Helen. Fatigue. Thanks, Ian. Miscommunication. Sharon. Lazy teammates. Thanks, Anne, for hitting the nail on the head. A lack of dedication. Thanks, Felista. So essentially, that is what is happening. So a barrier to teamwork could include a lack of coordination or follow-up by the team lead, team members not pulling their weight, so other people have to bear the burden of their inactions, favoritism, nepotism, personal bias or conflict. There's so many things that comes to that hinder us to be able to work effectively in teams. So these are the 4 keys to team success. They're essential to be able to ensure that we're actually working in teams that are productive. Okay. The first thing that a team needs to be is that team members need to be within a team is that team members need to be sensitive. Okay. They need to listen for understanding and try to keep an open mind as possible. Don't say, oh, that's a silly idea when someone is sharing an idea in a meeting. You're all in a team. There should be no silly ideas when it comes to brainstorming. There's always a way to figure out how to get what that person has said involved in whatever the plan is overall. Trust. Confidentiality is important. Okay. Ruth knows. Ruth cannot go and have a discussion with Herman in IT, and Ruth is coming from HR and is talking about the in operations. Okay, so it's also important that whatever is happening within the team stays within the team. Okay, whatever information has been shared by Duncan with Ruth and her team members should not be heard by Herman in another department. Okay, appreciation goes a long way in ensuring that everyone feels valued. Okay, so it's important that even if you disagree with someone's idea or their thought process, you need to disagree without being disagreeable. Okay, and then also respect. Respect is such a key aspect of teamwork. Okay, you need to respect your colleagues, you need to respect your team members. Doesn't matter if they're older or they're younger than you, they're part of the team. So you have to value their perspectives and value them as a person as well. So thank you so much. I believe Matthew is back on the call. Hi, Matthew. Okay, so I believe we can take over from here.
Okay, thank you, Faye. Apologies, I got called off. So quickly, leadership. Yes, leadership. Who is a leader? Who is a leader? Sorry.
Okay, so when it comes to leadership, every leader has a different leadership style. Okay, there are democratic leaders, there are autocratic leaders, there are laissez-faire leaders, transformational ones, transactional ones, bureaucratic ones, and servant leaders. Okay, So there's no one style in particular that is the best. It's really very situational dependent and also a very personal decision, okay? So democratic someone is someone who is involved in collaborative decision making, okay? They want people to contribute to the ideas. While the leader makes the final call, they're always looking to hear from their teammates. An autocratic leader is someone who makes all decisions without any team input, okay? They're not looking to hear about dissatisfaction or whatever it is. They're just doing what they want. Of course, that style of leadership can only be appropriate in small doses. Now, when it comes to laissez-faire leadership, this one is typically a very hands-off approach by providing resources to get the job done while allowing team members to work independently. I typically prefer this style of approach when I am being managed. Okay, so when I'm being managed, I like a laissez-faire approach when it comes to leadership. Now, transformational leaders are leaders who inspire and motivate their team to take compelling vision. They're very good at driving that consensus and building consensus. And you know any leader like that? I know Barack Obama is someone that comes to mind, a leader that is very charismatic and people want to transform because of the vision that they have spelled out, okay? Then there's the transactional leadership. So this is essentially when leaders are motivating and directing followers by appealing to their self-interest through rewards and punishments, okay? So let's say you want a teammate to do something, or you want your team members to do something. If you are a transactional leader, you are looking for incentives. You're trying to incentivize them, or you're trying to penalize them to ensure that work gets carried out. And then there's also the bureaucratic one. This is a person that is very a stickler for established procedures and policies. They have very little wiggle room in their leadership style. And then finally, we have the servant leaders. And these are people who lead by serving others and enabling their success rather than seeking personal glory or recognition. So this is a team leader that when a team member does something, they will shout them out in a public forum. And that is also a very, very, very key or lovely part about someone who is a leader. When it comes to leadership, there is the aspect of leading oneself and then the aspect of leading others. Brian says, self-leadership is having a developed sense of who you are, what you can do, where you are going, coupled with the ability to influence your communication, emotions, and behavior on the way to getting there. Essentially, it's being able to be self-aware and then being able to now manage yourself afterwards. Now, when it comes to leading others, it's if your actions from leading yourself now inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. So even when you are like, oh, I just want to be by myself. Yeah, I know there are people here that have often been thrown into leadership styles. Is there anybody like that? Somebody's giving me examples. I like that. Is autocratic also dictatorship? Something like that. Something like that, but not necessarily. I wouldn't call it a dictatorship. So that's it on leading self and leading others. So leading self begins with our introspection, which means understanding the span of our attitude, our attention, and our action. Okay. So it's the practice of intentionally influence one's own thinking, feeling, and action towards achieving specific objectives or set goals. So you need to be able to be a self-leader. You need to be able to master your attitude. You need to be able to master your attention, and then you need to be able to master your action. Okay. Now, in today's workplace, leading others is crucial. It involves perfecting 3 key aspects that contribute to achieving a common goal. Okay, so mastering your ability to be this soft skill as a leader fosters teamwork, it builds creativity, and makes everyone just more productive. So when leading others, you need to be able to build. So these are the 3 key components. You need to be able to build trust and rapport. You need to be able to effectively communicate your points. And you also need to be able to delegate and empower. Okay, so building rapport means that you're able to establish that, okay, you are for them. You are whoever is working within the team with you. You are with them. You are a camaraderie in trying to achieve a goal. And then when it comes to effectively communicating, as a leader, you're able to listen, you know. Remember, effective communication is a cycle, and that complete cycle is being able to, you know, speak or communicate or verbally or orally, and then the person receiving what you're saying, understanding what you're saying, and being able to take action on what you have said. So you need to be effectively communicating. And then delegation and empowerment are key aspects of building future leaders, okay? Being able to understand people's individual strengths and playing to those strengths and helping them work on their own weaknesses is a key part of being a good leader. So I hope with these few points of mine, we'll be able to. Who is El Chapo? What is going on in the chat? All right, then. So now we're moving on to business etiquette. So business etiquette is the expected behavior and mannerism amongst professionals. Okay, having business etiquette for me is just acting in a manner appropriate to a situation and recognizing cultural differences while doing so. Essentially, what business etiquette is all about. So there are three key aspects of etiquette in this module. So telephone etiquette, office etiquette, as well as meeting etiquette. So telephone etiquette, I'm curious, who can answer this question? Who hangs up the call? So let's say person A calls person B. Who is supposed to hang up the call when it comes to telephone etiquette? Person A calls person B. Who is supposed to hang up the call? Person A. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much. So person A is the person who's supposed to hang up the call. So whoever is calling is the one who determines the length of the call. So once they've gotten their point across, they are free to be able to end that call. So there are just various types. So telephone etiquette is just essentially principles and behaviors that we must adopt to be able to have business-related telephone conversations. The next is office etiquette. So what's a key role that you have in your organization? Are you allowed to eat at your desk? Do you have to dress professionally? Is it more business casual? You know, let me know in the chat. What is a key office etiquette organizational rule that everyone has to follow? Do you have to be respectful to your colleagues and wait your turn to be able to speak? So let me know in the chat. I will be on the lookout for that. And then finally, with meeting etiquette, these are behaviors and principles that govern business meetings, okay? So being able to manage a meeting, knowing when to speak, knowing when to raise your hand, knowing when to pause, these are all meeting etiquette as well. Okay, someone is saying official dresses. Someone says no warming of fish in office microwave. Stacey, that's such a good point. As someone who like is really sensitive to the smell of fish, that's a really, I would love your office. Visitor be on time, don't shout from Helen. Okay. So go and meet whoever it is you want to speak to. Maintaining boundaries, professional attire, respect for colleagues, always follow the chain of command. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I like that we all know what various etiquette aspects of the office are, and now I hope we are all trying to enforce them, okay? So when it comes to business etiquette, it's important. Some people may be like, oh, why is this important? Why is learning this important? It's important because it helps you to build and maintain strong professional relationships. It helps promote a positive atmosphere. You are able to be self-confident when you are polite to others and considerate of others. And it prevents misunderstanding. And I think that's the key part of etiquette, okay? When you know the expected behavior, the expected mannerisms, you're able to relax and you're able to just do things that are in accordance with the status quo when it comes to etiquette, so that everyone is relaxed. No one is feeling like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen next? No one is scared to be able to have a meeting, okay? So etiquette impacts us. Good manners shows the best you have to offer and encourages others to also be their best as well. Manners are important because they make a good impressions on others in everyday life. So this brings us to the end of module 3. We will be taking the endline assessment at the end of module 5. So we have 2 more modules. And this module 4, I know is going to be so interesting. We're all going to love it. It's all about employability skills, CV writing, cover letter writing. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type it over in the Q&A section if it's like really pertinent. And if possible, you can also write them in the Q&A, in the chat box as I go along. Whichever one I'm able to catch, I will definitely respond as I go along. So CV writing, that is the first module we're going to be working with today, or the first aspects of this. So when it comes to your CV, what would you rate your CV on a scale of 1 to 10? 1, poor, 10, excellent. Before I go into the details, okay? When I go into the details, we'll now check again that, is this number correct? Some people are saying 3. So answer a solid 9. I appreciate that. Awesome. So when it comes to your CV is a branding tool. It is a marketing tool. Okay, so it's important that you are presenting your best self. Your CV is going to be entering into rooms and into organizations that you may not be opportune to get into. So it's so important that it's presenting you in the best possible way. Okay. So the ATS, someone already said mine is ATS, so it's a 10. Okay. Mine is ATS approved, so it is a 10. So let's see about that, Lauren. I like that. I like that energy. So when it comes to the ATS, it is called the applicant tracking system. Joel made a point to talk about it with Jobberman. You know, having a complete profile of Jobberman helps you show up as a more relevant hire to employers on the BrighterMonday platform. So, of course, ensure that you are doing that, creating a profile, and ensuring that your profile is complete. Mohammed said he got his 3rd job on BrighterMonday earlier in the call today. So please, there are opportunities available. Just ensure that you are tailoring your application to be able to fit into the needs of the company. And that is simply what your CV is supposed to be doing, your cover letter is supposed to be doing as well. Now, when it comes to the applicant tracking system, I'm going to use an example to be able to define this. So let's say you are applying for a role as a data analyst at Karuki Enterprises. You want to be a data analyst there. So you and 499 other people apply. So that's 500 applications. The applications are received. So what happens next is that applications are now qualified, meaning that they are either passed or failed. Okay, so you pass if you have at least one keyword that is in the application or the job requirements. Okay, so keywords are essentially words that match what the employer is looking for that are on your CV or your application. It could be anything from your education to your years of experience, to maybe you worked in a specific organization. There are various things that recruiters and hiring managers can use as keywords, okay? So what happens next after that is that, let's say about 250 people, and you're included in that, are able to pass through because you're able to get at least one keyword is there, okay? What happens next is that everyone is now scored and then ranked. So say, for instance, you that applied for this analyst role, you end up in the number 49th spot. And how do you end up there? Or why are you not the number 1 spot, even though your application, you feel as if it's a good match for the job? Because maybe the person that got the number 1 spot has a lot more keyword matches than you do. Okay, so anyone that's now ranked, so essentially what happens is that a recruiter, a hiring manager can just come to the system and say, okay, 1 to 50, I want to send them assessments so that we can streamline them again to invite applications. You that you're able to get 49 and now on that list, so you're able to scale through to the next level by a slim margin, but you're there. Okay, so right now you've been able to scale through the ATS, and your CV was what was able to help you do that. Okay, so to be able to tailor your CV to the ATS, carefully watch out for job descriptions every single time. It doesn't matter if you work in Karuki Enterprises or if you work in ABC Limited, and it's the same role, same customer service role, same data analyst role. It doesn't matter if it's the same role that you're applying for. Ensure that you are checking what are the job requirements, and whatever fits with you, whatever words fit with you or match with you, ensure that you're emphasizing it in your CV and in your CV or in your application. So that's how you're able to optimize for ATS search and ranking algorithms, okay? By keyword matching. Keyword matching. So you can use both the long form and acronym versions of keywords to ensure that the matching is done so that you're not leaving anything to chance, okay? If it's to write Google Analytics, you put in bracket GA4 so that they know, okay, GA4 is a skill that you have, okay? So keep your resume simple, use readable fonts that the system and your hiring manager will be able to read. Use standard section headings, okay? Use work experience, not, oh, my journey so far or where I've been. The ATS needs to read the section. So work experience, work history, professional experience, these are all words that you can use to be able to use as the title, okay? So just use a standard section heading that everyone typically uses in Kenya, wherever it is that they may be applying to, okay? What else again? Depending on how they require you to submit, whatever format is required, just submit that way. It could be a PDF, it could be a docx docu file, it could be, usually it's not a PNG, but I'm just saying it could be any format, file format. Just ensure that you are submitting it in the appropriate file formats. So now, outside of just the ATS, these are just helpful tips in general, okay? So like we said, tailor your CV every single time you apply. So it doesn't just apply to when you're using the ATS. Also, when you're applying to roles where, okay, maybe you have a friend that wants to push your CV to an organization, also try and find out more about the role so that you can get at least some keywords there, okay? Keep your CV short and simple. Your CV doesn't need, especially if you have like less than 5 years experience, your CV doesn't need to be more than a page. Okay, you don't need to write that much information on your CV. The most impactful information is what is important on your CV. Okay, at most a page and a half. Clearly state your achievements and how you achieve them. Okay, only include relevant information. Relevant information includes your name, your email address, your phone number, your portfolio. If you're like a designer or an analyst, that people need to be able to see your portfolio. Okay, or your LinkedIn. If it's a really good LinkedIn profile, you can include the link there. Okay, so but outside of this, any kind of nationality, date of birth, gender, religious status, they could be really harmful to your CV moving forward. Remember, this is not just the ATS reading now. This is a human being reading your CV. So it's important that you don't put any information there that could cause their unconscious bias to be triggered, okay? You never know what frame of reference anyone is coming from. So put as neutral as possible information as possible. Your gender, your nationality, your religious status, your date of birth, all of these things can be used to discriminate against you. So make sure that you are minimizing that possibility as much as possible. Of course, in the next stages, when they're asking for this information, feel free to share. But in your CV, it is irrelevant information. Okay. Someone is asking, is it wrong to do a CV with ChatGPT? It depends on how you are doing it. Are you just copying and pasting everything that ChatGPT is saying? Do you already have something that you've done before and ChatGPT is helping you refine it better? Okay. So you have to have something that you're working with. ChatGPT cannot just write out your CV for you. You need to have, okay, these are the points I want to hit. So I think I'll talk a little bit more about those points. And of course, you can use ChatGPT as a tool to help you refine it. Okay. So clearly state your achievements and how you achieve them. If possible, quantify the results achieved. Okay, this is so important. Numbers speak for you. People catch on to numbers. 50% increase, 100% increase, 3-day decrease. Things like that. People are able to catch on to that information quicker than stories. So be careful and be willing to put in numbers. Substantiate your claims. Okay. Check for spelling and grammatical errors on your CV and be honest. Don't include jobs you had not done before or false achievements. So this is an example CV. So you can see Maureen Barreru, and then you can see her phone number, you can see her email. So when it comes to the phone number and email that you put on your CV, two things. The phone number must be a number that you can be easily reached on, if possible, a WhatsApp number so that international people can also reach out to you. Okay. And then your email must not have any kind of sexy, baby, queen, king. I don't want to see that. Keep that for your personal use. If you need to create a new email for your application process, please feel free to do so. Don't even feel free, you have to do so. Please do not respond or apply for an email with, oh, what would people even say? Divine Jewel, goddess this. Please, I'm begging you. Your first name, your last name, maybe your year of birth. If your first name and last name are common, you can use that, okay, to differentiate. You can do your first name dot your last name. Really, just enable people to be able to identify you from your email address. Then, of course, you can put the general area in which you live. If you live in Nairobi or Mombasa, just put that there. You don't even need to put Kenya if you're applying within Kenya. If you're applying outside of Kenya, you can just put Kenya. You don't have to put Eldoret or Mombasa. You don't have to put anything there. Now, when it comes to your summary, your professional summary, you need to do it in a way that in 2 to 3 sentences, you are letting them know who you are, okay? So who you are in terms of, oh, strong bottom line organizer, organized, proactive, and driven professional with recent so credentials in this. So really, you can just use the professional summary as a way to give highlights of the most important parts of your career that are relevant to the role you are applying for. Your education, now your education can come next, but you can also be your work experience. It depends on what your educational background is, okay? So I have a background education in chemistry, but I work in marketing. So my work experience comes before my education. Okay. So it shows, and whatever role I'm applying for is typically within the marketing field or communications field. So that's typically the role that I am applying for. So I ensure that my work experience comes before my education because it is more relevant than my educational background. If you're someone who's an analyst, a designer, you have an educational background that's relevant, and maybe you are just maybe a year out of school and you're into the working environment, please feel free to, and you have a really good degree or let's say CGPA, include that as the first thing after your professional summary, or you could just include your skill sets. Now, when it comes to your work experience, it's important that you are using action words to start out your sentences, okay? So if we check this technology company in Nairobi, this administrative assistant role, started as a this, and you're able to do this, implemented, updated and maintained, recommended, organized, created. These are all keywords that we can use to be able to show that we are actively participating in our organizations, okay? That we know what we are doing. And you can see that this person, Maureen, is also using numbers to be able to quantify her impact in our organization, okay? So wherever it is you find yourself, you can turn any experience into valuable work experience on your CV. Even if you worked as a shop attendant, okay? Even if you work as a shop attendant, there's a way for you to do it. Even if you worked as a cleaner, there's a way for you to say you're a janitorial services, okay? You're a janitorial executive. There's always a way to package your CV in such a way that people are like, oh, interesting. If you're able to help them switch from one toilet paper to the other, that was able to save the organization 50,000 shillings in a year, you know, that's valuable. So include that. There is no experience that you cannot turn into something that is worthy on your CV. Now, cover letter writing. So I like to describe cover letters. Okay, before I even start that. So with those few points of mine, would you say that your rating for your CV remains the same? Does it improve or does it diminish? You know what you put before. If you put an 8, is it still the same or did it go up or it went down? Remains the same. Thanks, Helen. So I need to know, did it go up or it went down? Or it remains the same? Now, your cover letter is essentially a personal touch to your CV. Sometimes organizations don't even ask for cover letters anymore. But if you're applying to a role, maybe you're applying via email, your cover letter should be the body of the email. Okay? So some people said they improved by 2. Awesome, Hannah. Some people said it went down. Okay. At least now you know where to improve on. So essentially in 4 to 5 paragraphs, your cover letter, you are letting them know who you are in the first paragraph and how you found the application. In the second paragraph, you're letting them know a summary of you, your knowledge, your skills, your experience, okay? Your accomplishments. You're doing that in the second paragraph. In the third paragraph, this is the connector. This is where the magic happens. This is where you say, I am the perfect fit for you. This is what connects me to your company. These are the value sets that you have that I also have. This is a project that you have done before that I have experience in. Okay. So essentially it is what makes you a good fit. This is what information that you are putting here. And then finally you wrap up with, oh, you have your resume or your CV attached, and you have essentially just a call to action to follow up that, oh, looking forward to hearing from you. Kindly find my CV attached. So this is an example of a cover letter by data analyst intern. So you can take a screenshot of this, but you will be shared this later, so you can just hold on to be able to see that. Now, so how many of us, how did you find your current role? If you don't have a current role, I hope you have taken note of how to create a profile on Brighter Monday. In fact, we already had a testimony here today, like I said earlier. So please feel free to create a profile on Brighter Monday. But anyone else that is working here, how did you find your job? How did you get your job? Was it via a network? Was it via Brighter Monday? Was it via LinkedIn? Was it a recruiter that reached out to you? Tobias said I applied via LinkedIn. Chantal said my network. Okay, awesome. Brighter Monday, another way for Brighter Monday. Nice one, Jeffrey. A recruiter. Oh my goodness, so many people have jobs here. A network, considered by a recruiter, my network. Brighter Monday, a referral, my network. So a lot of people between I got a referral from my network and Brighter Monday. So that's great. So when it comes to establishing your career and even just like deciding what your strategy is to be able to apply for a job, you need to be able to narrow down 3 things, okay? You need to be able to narrow down your career goal, your industry and desired role, as well as the type of organization that you want to be working in, okay? These 3 components are essential for establishing that, okay, these are the kind of roles that I want to be going after. It helps you refine your focus when you know, oh, I want to be someone who works in agri-tech. I want to work as a marketing person in agri-tech, okay? Being able to streamline what exactly you want to do is essential and very, very helpful with refining how you want to get your role, okay? Now, this is for people that are still searching for a role. When you're able to define that, similar to what we did with time management audit, when you're able to write down, okay, these are the things that are important to me and all of that, you're not able to go on various job posting platforms like LinkedIn and Brighter Monday to be able to see, okay, what is relevant to me. Okay, you're able to build out profiles there so that you can easily apply whatever roles may come up that fit your profile. Okay, ensure that your other job search materials, your CV, your cover letter are all up to date, and also use your network. There is over 50% of people who get jobs are getting jobs because of someone they know. So it's important that you're actually establishing key relationships in your industry. So wherever it is that you're working now, I have a friend who she worked somewhere and it was actually a team lead of hers that referred her for the role that she had in the current company that she's working in. Being able to build rapport, effectively communicate with your team leads and your colleagues. Don't look down on anybody. Anybody can be your, you know what, your connector to your next great opportunity. So these are just a few job posting platforms you should consider. When it comes to job scams, how many of us have been scammed before? Why employers fear employing an overqualified candidates? I think it could be a variety of reasons. For an overqualified candidate, at some point you feel the need to ask for more money. You know, when you have someone who is maybe more a beginner, they are still trying to get the lay of the land. They are willing to collect anything. They are willing to collect, you know, something that is a little bit more lower than what you would typically collect. Even if you say, oh, I am interested, but at some point when you start doing the work and you're seeing the kind of effort that you're putting in, you also start feeling like, oh, okay, I deserve more. I want to push for more. But this is just an aspect of why people are scared of employing people that are overqualified. Every organization has their own reasoning. Okay. Someone says, some people have been scammed here. I'm so sorry about that. I do want to preface this by saying that being scammed or not being scammed is not a character flaw on the person who is potentially scammed. Okay, I hope that's clear. Like your ability to be scammed or not be scammed is not a skill that you have. Okay, people that are social engineers that are really good at phishing attempts and, trying to scam others. It's a skill that they have honed over years, okay? And even that they are practicing with. So you being able to not identify or identify one is not a character flaw on you, okay? But it is important that we arm ourselves with knowledge, because knowledge is power, okay? Knowledge is power, so much power. So know the signs, know the obvious signs, so that when you encounter situations that look remotely familiar, you're able to tackle them better. So the first one, a few job scam warning signs include any kind of vague job requirements or job description in the listing you need to be wary of. Anything that the search results don't add up, okay? You're searching for the organization, you cannot, like, where is the organization? Where is it located? Is it in Mombasa or is it in Eldoret? Are they remote? That's one thing. Or they said, okay, they are an IT solutions company, but the only thing you're seeing on there is maybe they are teaching people a course. There are various ways that search results don't add up. So just look out for those signs when you go and search on Google, on Bing, or even ChatGPT. Unprofessional emails. So now, unprofessional emails include at gmail.com, at yahoo.com. If someone is reaching out to you from an organization, they should be reaching out to you from their company email. Okay. So that looks like at BrighterMonday.co.ke. Okay. That is the professional email that you should be getting from whoever it is that is claiming to work in Brighter Monday that wants to recruit you. Okay. Now, any offer that is too good to be true. Now, I'm not saying that you're not a fantastic person who deserves the best of life and the best of the world. Yes, but you're someone who just is 2 years out of school. Okay, you're not going to be getting such incredible offers. So what I mean by that is maybe they are putting, and depends on your skill set. Of course, if you are maybe an AI, ML part of things, you might be getting a very lucrative offer. That is normal. That could be acceptable. But you have to also be wary, be very wary of anything that's too good to be true. And also, when you're asked for confidential information includes your date of birth. It includes any information that can be tied back to you, people that can steal your identity. Okay, so that is like your banking details. All of these things you need to be guarding jealously as much as possible. And also, please don't just respond to all these biodata information that's put in all these like X. Maybe you go on X and people are asking different questions. Oh, what was your first pet's name? That is a security question, people. So please be very, very wary of anyone or of anyone asking those questions on X or on Instagram as a poll and responding. Don't respond, don't engage. Okay. Now, when it comes to interview prep, interviews are part and parcel with the job search process. And anyone can actually, a really qualified person can lose a job to a less qualified person based on preparation alone. We need to prepare for an interview. Interviewing is a skill set. You need to exercise that muscle. So before the interview, it's important that you research about the company, okay? Prepare questions and explanations of your CV. If you have any gaps, if you have any information, maybe you left a role abruptly, have what you want to say ready just in case they ask you. And of course, look sharp and smart. It doesn't matter if it's a virtual meeting or an in-person interview. Look sharp, even if it's a virtual meeting. From your torso up, look professional, look ready to go. Okay. During the interview, it's important that you listen carefully to the interviewer. What is their question? You need to be able to relate your skills, your accomplishments, and objectives to the needs of the organization. Everything you're saying should be tying back in. Yes, you should be self-promoting, but in self-promoting, you should be tying it back to how useful you're going to be to your organization. Use specific examples as a way to buttress this point as well. And ask questions at the end of the interview. It makes you a lot more memorable, okay? And thank the interviewer for the time and the opportunity. After the interview, maybe you could connect with your interviewers. It depends on, typically organizations differ. Sometimes it's just the hiring team. Sometimes your departmental head is there. Sometimes just a senior member of the team is on the interview panel. So you reach out to them on LinkedIn, connect to them. You don't have to bombard them with any information, but you cannot say, well, I would love to connect. Send them a personalized message. And then follow up on the interview, on the person who contacted you for the interview.
however it is that they reached out to you. Okay, so if they sent you an email, respond with an email to find out or check back in. If they gave you a phone call, feel free to give them a phone call, or you can just reach out to them on LinkedIn. However it is that they contacted you, it's a good way for you to reach back out. So give them about 3 to 5 business days to be able to reach out to them. So these are just a few tips on virtual interview and a physical interview as well. So these are just a few questions that you can ask. Okay, so these are just a few questions that you can prepare for or try to prepare for when it comes to an interview. So one question that I know will definitely be coming up is the tell me about yourself question. This is typically setting the foundation of how the conversation should go. So I highly recommend that you create a script, a loose script, so that you're able to remember the points you want to touch on. Okay, so tell me about yourself is a key question, and you need to answer that well because it sets foundation for how the conversation will move going forward. Most organizations don't get back to you as promised during an interview. With an interview process, you just need to understand that, or recruitment process in general, you need to understand that they are reaching out to a lot of people. They are engaging with a lot of people. So they will not have the opportunity sometimes to tell you that, oh, you are no longer in the running for this role. Okay. So you just need to take that in stride. Unfortunately, the job search process comes with a lot of rejection. So you need to be someone who is fortified and is able to not take things so personally. Okay. The company is just trying to find the best fit possible. And you should also be seeking the same. So like I said, if someone asks you, oh, do you have any questions? Say yes. And ask them, okay, what does typical workday in the life look like? In my current role, I asked, okay, what created the need for this role? This is a role that has already been established and you're just filling it in, or are you creating a new role? That information just helps you to be able to determine whether you want to take the job or not, whether it's something that actually fits in with your scheduling or not. So remember that the most successful candidates are those who can relay facts and success stories in a positive and enthusiastic manner. Now, with negotiating a salary negotiation can be tricky and very ominous for a lot of people. A lot of people are like, no, I don't want to negotiate anything. If the offer is decent, I'll take it. But negotiating a salary really helps with your career trajectory. Okay, it helps with how much you're able to. It depends. Sorry, I just heard myself. So it depends on how much you are able. It determines how much you're able to earn in your career span. Okay, so salaries typically move exponentially. So it's important that you are moving at a pace that is reasonable. So now there are some positions that entry level, graduate trainee positions, internship positions that you may not have the luxury of negotiating a salary. Okay, but if you do or are asked to negotiate a salary, these are a few things you should keep in mind. You should know your worth. Okay, so that looks like you also doing the research, knowing what you bring to the table. Are there specific skill sets that you have to pay for to learn, that you have to, you have to pay for your education, you have to pay for certain things. So you have to think about things thoroughly. So know your value, do the research. What's typically the going rate? Get a range. I like that Mohammed said, I always give a range when negotiating a salary. That's a really good point. Always give a range. Explain here this trick question on what salary do you expect. It's not a trick question, but how you answer it is really important. Tact is very, very important. Okay. Some people don't prefer to give a salary number on the first time they are interacting with a recruiter or a hiring manager, or wherever it is. Maybe it's in the second interview that they will do that. Okay. So having some background information on what the role is like, what the industry, I mean, if you are someone who wants to work in tech, you understand that, okay, your salary expectations will be marginally higher than those who work in regular organizations that are not necessarily tech enabled. Okay. So it's important that you give a range. So if you are in that, okay, 250 to 300,000 shillings, you need to be able to give a range, and the lower range was something that you are comfortable with, because they'll definitely be going for that lower range. Okay, so let that lower range be something that you are comfortable with. And you can also definitely be able to negotiate something that is in between the range that you have given. Okay. Stay positive. It's so important that you stay positive when you're trying to negotiate. Some organizations are like, oh, but we don't know you, we don't know your skill sets yet. How about we meet in 3 months or in 6 months? Pen that date down. If you get hired, pen the date down and make it a calendar invite meeting so that in the 6 months time that they have said, you are going to be able to have that negotiation meeting. And then when it comes to negotiating your compensation now, beyond just your salary, your whole compensation package should be considered. Okay, do they have a health management organization, an HMO? Okay, what does it cover? Okay, does it cover you and your family members? Think about it. Okay, does it do they offer you leave? Do they offer you like a laptop? Do they offer you so to be able to enable your work? Do they offer you a company phone? Do they offer you paid time off? Do they offer you, there are various things that you could be offered that you encompass a comprehensive compensation package. So rather than just looking at what your gross salary is going to be, think about what your net salary is going to be and what other additives come with that. Maybe you would prefer a 250,000 shilling per month with HMO, and that's net salary, rather than a 320,000 shilling gross salary. Remember, they will still remove tax from that. They will still remove other things from that as well. So you need to ensure that you are doing a good job with that. So that brings us to the end of module 4. So let me go through. So I'm talking about creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving. Creativity is an attitude to accept change and newness. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say are you creative? On a scale of 1 to 10, like 1 is no, I'm not. 10 is yes, I am. I want to know what your range would be. Lauren an 8 and a 7. Okay, awesome. So creativity is an attitude. It's you being able to accept change and newness and play with ideas and possibilities. You don't have to create out of nothing to be creative, but you will be something that is very good at generating ideas by combining, changing, or reapplying existing ideas. Innovation, on the other hand, is the productive process of creativity. Is the implementation of something that is new or significantly improved product, service, or process that creates value for society. Okay, so creativity is more of the mindset, while innovation is the productive process. Now, creativity can definitely be something that is learned. If you're someone that doesn't feel like you are creative when you're able to associate with others and you're able to draw connections between ideas. We are able to question the status quo, like, why are we doing things like this? Why can't we update this part of this process or this product? Being able to observe people, being able to observe processes as well. Networking, building cross-functional relationships help us be able to sharpen our own creativity and our wit. You're able to take concepts that you have learned if you're an IT person, being able to learn from someone who's a marketer, someone who's a lawyer is very, very helpful. Experimenting, constructing interactive experiences and provoking unorthodox responses to see, okay, how is this going to happen? Being able to be an experimental person is key to developing your creativity as well. Now, critical thinking is the ability to think clearly and rationally about what to do or what to believe. It includes the ability to engage in reflective and independent thinking in order to make sound judgments, okay? So reflective and independent thinking are the key things I want us to take from critical thinking. Critical thinkers are people who challenge the status quo. They're very open-minded. They're really good active listeners, and they are aware of common thinking errors, okay? A critical thinker is someone who's able to listen to your point of view and understand it and be able to, give maybe their own comeback or maybe even agree with what you're saying. They're also able to change their minds, okay? When they're presented with new, great information, factual information, improved information, they're able to change their minds, okay? To be able to refine their thinking. They're not attached to the thought itself. They're attached to their own process of making sure that they are adept at their own thinking. Now, critical or decision making is a key part of critical thinking. And Edward de Bono actually introduced the 6 thinking hats technique. So it's a good technique to be able to brainstorm with team members and it just helps them be more productive. But I'm curious what hats you think you typically wear on a regular basis, whether you're in a team or just hanging out by yourself. Are you a blue hat thinker? This is someone who is a manager. They're thinking about the process. They're the ones that organize the thinking. They're the one that say, oh, you white hat, go ahead. What do you think about what the green hat has said? Okay. The green hat is the hat of creativity. They're always presenting new ideas, possible solutions to black hat problems. The white hat is the hat of neutrality. They are very factual, just giving you information and data. They're not telling you whether it's good or bad, right or wrong. The yellow hat, on the other hand, is the hat of benefit. They are using the information from the white hat to say, okay, this is why this is a good idea. The red hat thinkers are people that are like, oh, I feel like they're really always going on gut instinct, and this is what my intuition is telling me. While the black hat thinkers are people who are very much used to, caution. They are like, this is an issue. This is a pothole. This is going to be dangerous. They are very good at spotting the risks. So it's so important that we learn to actually have productive conversations where people will be able to present these ideas so that we can refine our process, our product, whatever it is that we have out there. So some people have said, Michael says, I'm a white hat thinker. Angela is a yellow hat thinker. Okay. Josephine is a blue hat thinker. Helen is yellow. Ian is white. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So that brings us to problem solving. How many of us like having problems here? Does anybody like having problems here? Just give me a yes or a no in the chat. Do you like having problems? No. Everybody said no. Nobody likes having problems. But when it comes to work, somebody said, I like problems. I don't want peace. That's interesting. It really depends. If you're someone who enjoyed math growing up, you know that problem solving, being able to get presented with a challenge and getting a solution is typically very fulfilling. I'm someone who enjoyed math when I was growing up because you're presented with a problem, you're able to solve it, and you feel great afterwards. I'm like, oh, I figured that out. I must be smart. Okay. Problem solving is a key part of our dynamics wherever it is that we are in the world, whether we're working, we're studying, we're in our homes. Problem solving is part and parcel of the living experience. Problems are typically things that we don't want. They are matters or situations that we regard as unwelcome or harmful and needing to be dealt with or overcome. So problem solving is not the process of working through this of a problem to get a solution. Now, problem solving is a byproduct of critical thinking, same as innovation being a byproduct of creativity. Now, with problem solving, some people actually are so scared of a problem that when it comes up, they decide that it does not exist. They keep on going how they are going and they ignore that problem completely. So the problem either goes on to another person or it becomes a much larger situation than originally intended. On the other side of things, we have people who don't even wait, don't even pause to be able to decipher, okay, what's a good solution for this problem? They see a problem, they go ahead to solve it. A lot of these autocratic people, they're not trying to listen to anybody's opinion or try to get some wisdom or counsel. They're just going ahead with whatever their idea. But there is a more professional way and approach to solving our problems, okay? And that is the 4 steps to problem solving. How do we do this? So you need to be able to define the problem, identify the problem, the root cause of the problem. Once you're able to do that, you're not able to generate possible solutions. At this point, you're not necessarily saying, okay, we can't use this, we can't use this. It is after you have generated as many solutions as possible that you're now saying, we'll now start evaluating each idea, each solution. Oh, do we have the budget for this? Oh, does it make sense? Oh, I don't want to cut any staff. If any staff has to go, that idea has to go out of our plan. So once you're able to generate ideas and evaluate them, you can now select the ideas that work, make a plan to implement, and then implement. So now, as you can see on the left-hand side, once you implement, you have to evaluate again. So this makes problem solving a cyclical process. So anyone who doesn't like problems, you need to be a good problem solver because problems will always definitely arise. This brings us to the end of the training. So let us wrap up with this case study. So James is a team member on a group project, but notices that one of the team members isn't completing their task on time. So how should James address this issue without creating conflict? That's the question. And what steps can James and the team take to ensure project deadlines are met? Okay. Problems are the mother of invention and innovations. Problems are good indeed. Thank you so much, Moses. That's actually a really, really good perspective of seeing things. So how can we help James here? This is all knowledge that we've had over time. We're trying to ensure that over the course of this session, we're trying to use to answer this question right now. We need to identify the problem. Okay. So how can he do that? Reach out to help prioritize tasks. Thank you, Robert. That's a really good one. Melva says to inquire from James first, what is hindering the completion of tasks? Fantastic. It's a really good way to start. Once he's able to he can support them, then they can move on with it. If the team member can't take it on, reallocate so that we can ensure that the project deadline is met. So much for your contribution. Thank you. And I think I'll hand it off over right now to Chirona. Thank you so much, everyone, today for participating. Such a lovely audience. I really appreciate it.
Easy. Wow. Let's give our facilitator a round of applause. How wonderful was that session? I see reactions. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Fee. Thank you, Matthew. For sure, all the learners today can attest that this has been an amazing session, and we can see even through the interactions, the reactions you're having right now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for interacting with us, and thank you for staying through till the end of the session. I know we had said the session was going to take 2.5 hours, and you have been faithful enough to stay till the end. So we are the last part of our training today. We just want to do a few things before we can officially close. But once again, let's continue just giving our facilitators round of applause. It's been an incredible session. There's so much we have learned, and thank you so much for also being a very interactive audience. Yeah, I mean, you have been asking questions, you have been responding. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are grateful that you have been with us throughout till the end. Right now, we are the last part of our training today. So, question is, now that you have gone through all this training, you have been taught about problem solving, communication, effective communication, emotional intelligence. What are you going to do? What's your action plan? So 3 things you can note down, and you can look at it while you're back at home. What will you stop doing? What will you continue doing? What will you start doing? So these are reflective questions or action plan that you can actually take even as you go and apply what you have learned today. So now I'll just like to share the online assessment guideline. You will receive an email once we end this session. Once we end the session, you will receive an email requesting you to take your online assessment. If you haven't done your baseline assessment, you will be required to do it before you do your online assessment. Once you do your online assessment, then you can be able to receive a certificate. So you click on download certificate, and you will get your certificate with your name on it. In case of any questions or any questions that are clarification that you may need, please, you can write to us at training@brightmonday.co.ke, or you can WhatsApp or call us on the number that's provided. The number will be on the chat. The email will be on the chat as well. We are always available to support at any time you contact us. So please feel free to contact us Now, we'd like just to hear from you. Now that you have gone through the session, you had your 3 expectations that you have written down before we start the session. Were your expectations met? What you are looking for to learn, have you learned? So we are sharing a feedback form on the chat. Please take the next few minutes to do the survey. It's just a few questions, just to hear from you. How was the session? Are you able to learn what you are expecting to learn? So please use the link that has been shared on the chat to be able to give us feedback. Also, so that we can be able to help. I'm just putting this up. These are the names of your facilitators for today, so that it will be easy for you to be able to answer the questions on the survey. So in case you don't remember the names of our facilitators for today, we had Matthew, Husseini, and Fee. I don't want to butcher Fee's name, so I'll just stick to the short form, Fee. But I've presented to you their full names and the pictures so that you don't forget. So you can also just use it to answer the question that will be asked on the feedback survey. I noticed the names you could not maybe have remembered, but here are the names. So please use the next few minutes to answer the feedback survey. I'll come back to this slide and present again so that you can get the names. Post-training expectations. Like I'd said before, we will share with you the slides and the recording for these sessions after the training. So we'll share with you after the training for your reference. The online assessment will be shared via email with you when the training ends. Once we click the end of this training, please just make sure you go to your email today. You know how the knowledge is very fresh. It would be a good time to do your online assessment. During the week, we'll be sharing with you reminders. It could be via email, via SMS for you to complete your baseline and online assessment for you to receive your certificate. And a few months after this training, we'll also be able to reach out to you via call from our team. The same number we are projected is the number that we'll be calling you just to hear how you are, how your progress has been since the training, and how is your career progressing. Yeah, just to catch up with you to know how you are post training. So these are the key things that you should look out for. Please remember, we'll be reaching out to you through the entire week, either on SMS or on email, just reminding you to do your baseline and inline assessment, and we share with you the slides and the sessions recording. Remember, once you finish your inline assessment, then you can also receive your slides and sessions recording, okay? Just to make sure that you have your certification. To keep interacting with us, please, you can use the email that we have shared. It's on the chat as well, and the phone number that you are projecting. You can always call us or WhatsApp us. We'll be available to answer your questions. Now, we have officially come to the end of our training today. We took a time to clap for our facilitators for the amazing training they've taken us through. Now, please take this moment to clap for yourselves. You have been amazing. Let me say learners for today. Yes, you have been interactive. You're taking your time to ask questions. Where you needed clarity, you asked questions, and the facilitators have been able to answer you throughout the presentation. And thank you for being an interactive audience. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Those claps are for yourself. Thank you so much. We have officially come to the end of our training today. Have a wonderful afternoon. We are going to stay behind for a few minutes, just so that in case anyone is answering the feedback survey and don't remember the facilitator's name, it's here. Otherwise, you can leave at your own pleasure. Thank you so much and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your feedback and thank you for your time. We'll now officially close the webinar. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Thank you so much. I see that our facilitators are still answering some questions on the Q&A. So we're going to take a few minutes for that before we can close. We don't want you to leave with any questions unanswered. Thank you very much. Thank you. Your certificate will be made available to you once you finish your online assessment.